Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on facebook.com/superfunpodcast, twitter.com/superfunpodcast, patreon.com/superfunpodcast, Instagram at superfunpodcastgo, iTunes at Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
I had a screwdriver, but I must have misplaced it.
Quarter?
I left it in the
He
eye
needs
socket
something
of a
I think
zombie.
smaller.
Yeah.
Pull out your dick.
Oh! You had like this tone that was like
Sick
sarcastic.
TDR.
Gag, like pull your dick.
Hey, Ralph. There's literally a right behind you.
Tiny Dick Ralph.
Yeah. TDR.
Does
I
one of
asked
those work?
you
Ralphie
if I
brand
could use a
muffins.
screwdriver once, and you were like, "No." All right, let's start the episode. So I didn't think that tools were an option here. Have we crossed this threshold of our friendship?
Do
Mark?
you know what you're doing there? 'Cause it looks like you're struggling pretty hard.
Well, I'm trying to get these out, but they're all greasy.
Ralph, there's been a
Yeah,
tool
'cause they're
here
new.
ever since you showed up. There's been a tool here ever since you showed up.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, give me that. Do you know how to use tools?
You even tool, bro?
Ah, fuck it. Let's just get it. Welcome to another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast. Go!
What was that?
That was Clark turning.
To my left, Mr. Steve.
Steve is upset by your comment.
Across from me is Mr. Ralph.
Lee, it was me.
To my right, Mr. Clark.
Sorry.
And I.
No! Dude, you totally broke his face.
And I will be your host this evening. Larry is such a blockhead.
So good. So
Could
underrated.
have gone with salty motherfucker. But
that was good. That was,
Yeah.
hey, high five.
I didn't think it was that good, but okay.
I can't reach you, or I still wouldn't.
Everybody, first of all, I want to announce thank you, Kai, for submitting this game
Yes.
as part of your Patreon donorship.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
This-
thank you, sir.
This episode is dedicated to you, good sir.
This is for you.
All the way from Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt, Germany. In addition, I want to say congratulations to my fellow podcasters on reaching episode 50.
We're annoying.
This is accurate.
Kill me!
That's exciting, though.
It is.
50
It is.
games reviewed.
That's pretty good. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a notch on the belt,
Yeah.
like your mother. Anyway, let's...
Whoa.
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 Mom joke? Just throwing that in
Yeah,
there.
just throwing a mom joke.
Well, let's kick off the episode of The Walking Dead, a Telltale series.
A Telltale tease! It's a Walking Dead! Silly!
Wouldn't be caught dead in that blouse.
All right, let's talk about some game development, gents.
I would kill for a redub of this game where someone is just grilling them every time.
How about some initial impressions?
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Episode 50.
Episode 50,
I know
we've
the
forgotten the format.
All right, initial impressions. Who wants to start it off?
I was really excited when this game first came out. I actually borrowed it from one of my friends at the time. She bought the disc because I think,
What's
'cause-
So it
disc?
was after all the episodes came out, like a few months later?
yeah. So I didn't get it like right initially or get a chance to play it when it first came out, but there was something that I wanted to play. Obviously, I was caught up with everybody else in watching The Walking Dead at the time, or at least I think I was still watching it at that time. I don't know. I forget. But I was very excited when this game came up for review.
You didn't say game.
I was really excited when this gay came up. As he just
Spit it up all over the floor.
So I was very excited when this game came up for review.
Yep.
Yeah, go for it,
Yeah, go
TDR.
off.
All right. Yeah, you're not gonna believe this,
Wait,
but
hold on. TDR?
Tiny Dick Ralph.
no.
Wait, what?
No.
TDR.
When did this happen?
A couple minutes
10
ago.
minutes
yeah. Steve was on board with me.
I got it.
Oh, all right. I missed it.
Do I deserve this?
Oh, wait, was that because Ralph was playing with his tiny tool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
okay,
it was
got
technically it was your tiny tool I was playing
You
with.
were playing
That
with
is
my tiny
true.
tool?
Technically.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
This was a suggestion to me from Bob, like countless other games that I've talked about.
I
here.
can't believe it.
I know. He
Bob,
told me.
really?
Yep.
He's a real person?
Yep. He told me to play this game, and this was after the whole series had come out. So I don't know if this was like 2012 or 13 exactly, but I got up to the middle of chapter 3, and then I stopped playing it and didn't play after that. Ironically, I still remember the decisions that I made for some of the bigger moments, like 6 years later after play. Like I'm playing it now, and it's like, wow, I remember I went this way. Let's see what happens. I'll go the other way and have some fun with it. Immediately hooked with the storytelling for the way the Telltale series as a whole has done it. I don't know. Was this their first major game? In
This was
format?
the first.
I was going to talk about this in game development. This is the game that like kind of put them on the map.
Right. Okay.
But they do have a couple earlier titles, which I'll get to in game development.
Of course. But no, initially, I want to say like limited gameplay, heavy story, heavy choose your own adventure. Really enjoyed it. Initially.
Nice.
Say initially one more time, Ralph. Just
For the initial impression.
Get in there.
I think I heard of this game because of you, Clark.
Yep.
I think you downloaded the first chapter, I guess, or it was like...
Yeah.
Wait, I think the first chapter is usually free for these games to just try to
Try
get
it.
people into it.
So I actually bought it before it was like free. Like I bought the first 3 episodes, and then I like kind of fell off of it for a little while. There were other games that came out.
I think I just went out and bought... I think it was all released at this point because I bought the disc, and that's how I played through the entire game.
It's kind of both of ours. 'Cause
Initially-
our initial impressions were like we played the game together pretty much.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good initial impression.
I would say that.
I mean, it was initially.
Yes.
But-
Initial.
Then it
Initial.
came apart.
All right, let's just talk about game development.
Game development.
So prior to The Walking Dead, they had a game called Sam and Max.
Yes.
I
So
thought that was LucasArts.
they were the team that was LucasArts at the time, I believe.
Oh, wow. My mistake.
They also had Tales of Monkey Island, and I think they actually released Back to the Future and Jurassic Park before The Walking Dead, which I always wanted to play Back to the Future. I heard good things about
That one I played.
Is it good?
Yes. It's up to their standard, I would say, because they have a standard now.
Okay. No, they definitely do. But I don't think anybody really heard about this company until The Walking Dead came out. And I think they were riding on the... Because this is, I think, when the show was at, like, peak popularity. Talking, like, what, 2011, 2012 era?
Yeah. Somewhere around there, yeah.
Like, I think they were already, like, a season or two deep into the show. Like, first season, I don't know how well it kicked off as far as the show goes, and I don't know how well the show's doing now. But come range of, like, 3, 4, and 5 seasons, like... The show had a ton of hype. So I think it was really good timing on their part to pick up such a big franchise to really get them on the map.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know about The Walking Dead, it was a comic before it was either a game or a show. The comic is incredible. The show loosely follows it, and the nice thing about these games is they're supposed to happen in tandem with the comic. They're side stories to the comic, essentially.
I know Robert Kirkman like sat down and talked to these guys with Telltale.
Yep.
He kind of gave them some stipulations, like there is to be no mention of Rick Grimes. They didn't have his whole story fleshed out or anything. They didn't want anything to be canon, I guess, based off the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like a no touch zone. I need an adult. Robert Kirkman kind of gave them, I guess, rules how the zombies are supposed to interact with the world. What are some of the rules behind, like, as to not take away from all the lore that he built from the comic series. So there were guidelines provided.
That seems pretty natural.
I actually think it's really cool that he allowed them to touch the source material. Robert Kirkman, like, for the TV show, he only agreed to the first season of the Walking Dead TV show, and then he kind of stepped back. He wasn't the showrunner for a lot of the season 2 and steps back further and further from the show. And it's evident because the show has started to become more and more
I'll be honest. The last couple seasons are starting to get a little poor in the writing.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Honestly, the first season was okay, and I didn't think anything was good about the show. I don't like the show. I am not a huge fan. Love the comic, not a huge fan of the show.
I am not a big fan of the show really at all. You'd have to force me to watch it at this point, but I have fond memories of reading the comic and really getting sucked in, but I only stayed with it until about trade 10 or 11 or 12 because they're way up there now because it's still running, but I haven't kept up with it. There were certain feelings that the comic would just, like, I've never really experienced it with any other comic because I'm not a huge comic guy, though I like some classics. I would just get literally sucked in, and I would just be tearing through the pages going for what's next, to the point where if anything like pulled me out of it, I would be like dizzy because I was just like reading so intensely and moving on and just getting sucked right into like the desperation and the hunger and the fear and everything else that it's so well done in the comic. And the show obviously is popular, but only really the game did I sort of get similar vibes with the motel. We'll get into that, of course, hopefully. But personally, the comic is the pure source for The Walking Dead, and everything else is kind of secondary. But the game is great.
You bring up the comic, actually. I was buying the Walking Dead comics when you worked at Humongo. I believe you started setting some aside for me at some point.
Really?
The trades, yeah. When they would come in or like come out, you would set one in my pull list.
It was before I knew you.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that for me now.
No.
Or there'd be like a note with like a penis drawn on my
I don't
something
think
like
so,
that.
honestly. I don't think I would do that.
No.
No, I don't. One thing that this game has akin to the comics, though, is that you can be not anywhere near the beginning or the end, and just out of nowhere you turn a page and somebody's being eaten or someone's having their brains blown out, or like it was unpredictable. And that is like one of the key things that they went for in this game, and you don't see a lot of stuff coming in the I felt like I was constantly on the edge of my seat when I was playing the game, at least the first time.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there were some things where you can kind of, if you played other games of the same ilk, like, I think this is going to happen, but you never really knew for sure.
I think this is the perfect time to say that in the game there are characters from the graphic novel that sort of come and go in the chapter.
We should start getting into story, I think.
Well,
Before
hold
we
on.
touch that? Sure.
Couple other things I wanted to touch on real quick.
Yeah.
So you were correct. Most of the people that make up Telltale, the company, are from LucasArts.
Yep.
At the same time that they signed on to do The Walking Dead, they also signed on to do the Wolf Among Us from the Fable series as well. Also, great game if you've played through it.
And great comic.
I have heard of The Wolf Among Us, but I've never played or read it.
And they did, so not their early kind of titles, but around this time frame when they're developing this game, they did take inspiration from Heavy Rain when it came to like the QTEs and such. I think they started to push more of those in the game than some of their earlier titles.
Are you just working Heavy Rain in every episode? Is that how this goes?
I think Heavy Rain is super important to like gaming community.
Yeah, I think it's super important too, Harry.
It wasn't the first of that style, though.
Why don't we dive into our huge segment of the night?
Let's splash into it.
Can we shamble over?
Shamble. What else can we do?
We can shimmy.
We could.
Bite into our next topic?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
Let's bite into the story segment.
Nom 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 nom.
Story.
How do we want to tackle story? Because this is such a big part of this game. Do we want to just pick some scenes that really are iconic? And
Duck gets shot in the head.
That happened.
Who did it, though? Who shot him in the head?
Depends.
I made Lee do it.
I made Lee do it as well.
yeah.
Okay, we're all in
Massive
agreement.
spoilers for this game.
Oh, yeah.
And
After we say the duck died.
I said a duck. I didn't say. I just said a duck.
hey, no one knows who Duck is yet, so just...
Before we talk about any specific scenes,
Okay.
I just want to have a general discussion about this game. So, the choose your own ending games, I feel that it's not as elaborate as like Heavy Rain or Detroit or Until Dawn. This is super linear with like subtle changes, I guess.
Yeah, there's a definitive beginning and end to this game that does not change.
Exactly.
So it's the process
more
of getting there.
It's like more of an illusion of that choose your own ending, but it's really just tailoring the story based on certain decisions instead of changing the outcome of the story.
So Clementine always becomes a zombie?
Nailed it, Ralph.
Oh.
Nailed it.
Somebody didn't finish the game.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
I'm guess
kidding.
it's Ralph.
I know.
I'm kidding.
It's normal for you anyway.
Oh, you guys. Thanks.
Wait, you beat this one?
Shut up.
Did you?
Yes.
Yay!
Okay, haha.
Wait, did you beat it this time playing through it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay!
I only got to the third episode before. Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there. So like people that are coming to
Love
this
you.
game based on like, I don't know, their experience with like Detroit or something like that. This is a
What about
similar trope, but like different in regards to some of those mechanics.
the greatest choose your own adventure game ever made?
Maybe we should do
Through, like,
episode by episode.
Yeah, exactly.
What things pop on the first episode?
Well, I mean the introduction, like learning who Lee is and kind of some of his backstory, and like the setup with him being in the police car, then meeting Clementine, and then them running into
Depending on when you leave the house, you get two different people, I think. Yeah, I kind of looked at some of the decisions.
Oh, okay. I didn't look at the other decisions.
Who did you run into?
Outside of the house?
Yeah, is that hard to remember?
Yes.
When you're
'Cause
pushing the car?
Did you leave at night, or did you use the safety of daylight or whatever?
Safety of daylight.
Okay, that's what I did.
Anybody go at night? I've never done that way, actually.
No,
No.
I
I
think
really
did
should have
daylight.
probably. I mean, I did change up some things on this playthrough, but
I did too.
But there's certain things I just like I can't stray from because I'm like.
Did you have to walk on water like Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, when you play this game?
No, I wouldn't say I played as Jesus Christ this playthrough.
Well,
No,
maybe not.
I actually think that's one thing that is cool is you can shape how the character is with the decisions. Not it's just like how they are in your eyes through the story. Like I always play Lee to be Clementine above all else, ruthless, get to the end.
No boat for you.
No. I was like completely against the boat. I was like, this is a dumb idea, guys.
Fuck you, Kenny.
But like Kenny, I also always sided with by default.
Kenny is the fucking man.
Kenny is awesome.
Kenny is. I mean, for I want to say about 75-80% of like choose between Kenny and insert other character here usually went with Kenny.
You don't have to. I sided with Kenny on a lot of things, but towards the end, it was sort of like, all right, Kenny, you're just a fucking liability now. Like, you're fucking annoying me. Like, whatever.
Like one,
Fucking boat.
I don't think he was ever a liability. I think he was probably the most able-bodied person towards the end. Way more capable
Well,
than Lee.
more than
Ben.
yeah, more than Ben. But, okay, I'll give you that. But I just got annoyed with Kenny. I don't know.
He's very strong-willed. Or
yes.
strong-minded, I should say.
Stubborn.
Stubborn.
That's a good word for it.
Opinionated too.
Breaking it down, like I'm going over. So you're escaping on the road by pushing the car, or if you leave at night, you get to the farm and it's just like a lot of banter, and then the zombies crash through the fence and kill Herschel's son.
You meet Kenny. You
That's-
meet Kenny
yeah, I
at
guess-
the farm.
yeah.
It's
That's
it's
the
Herschel's
biggest
son. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is who's Herschel's son and his friend are the
The
ones
friend-
that you see right outside the house.
Well, the friend kind of took off.
Yeah. Once you get to the farm, the
Yeah.
friend took off. At least on mine. He
Yeah,
took
yeah,
off.
for mine too.
So that's who it was. We meet Herschel's son. No, we don't have to go through every character like that.
No,
obviously.
I understand. I'm just saying, going over in episode 1, there's not really a lot of like huge pivotal moments for me until like the very end.
Until the
The only thing I would say that
Drugstore.
jumps out, and I tried to play around with this too, when Herschel confronts you in the barn and tells you, "Oh, you got to become a better liar." I tried this playthrough telling 100% the truth to see if I can not stimulate that conversation, but it's like a default thing that
Yeah.
just happens to warn you this is a mechanic of the game. You need to choose what
Right.
you're saying carefully.
Yeah, it's interesting how they kind of tutorialize a lot of the beginning storyline, and they kind of just like hide it. Like certain characters are there just to tell you how to play the game, and you don't really realize it.
like the cop driving the car.
A little bit, yeah.
And that's one big tutorial there, just using the controls.
Yep.
Looking around, choosing your options to speak.
I don't think it was invasive or annoying though. I thought it was.
No,
all right.
I wasn't saying it was.
Yeah.
I like that whole character building scene
Yep.
just between the cop and Lee. I think it's a great scene.
I have to say, I thought, oh, let me do like a chaotic run where I'm just like a dick the whole time or something, or I just don't answer, just go with the ellipses like through the whole car ride. But I haven't done it. Has anyone ever tried that, or
No.
did you even
No.
use them? Because I didn't use them.
I used them a couple times
Oh,
when I
really?
didn't like the options available.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was just like,
Oh.
nope, I'm not saying anything.
Like if I thought Kenny was being a dick, but the other option was like directly against him, I would just stay silent because I knew Kenny was going to come out on top anyway. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I think it would make for a very boring playthrough if you were just silent on everything.
Well, yeah, of course. I'm just spitballing here. It's interesting what you say though about Kenny, because the first time I played it, I didn't like Kenny, but because I knew certain characters, there was nothing I could do to save them. Because at that point, I didn't know how far Kenny would get, but I knew Kenny was still around then, so I sided with him playing this time, if that makes sense. For instance,
Gotcha.
the first big, major, I think, decision is to save Doug or Carly.
Correct.
And
Not Duck or Herschel's son.
Sean,
That's a
sorry.
given,
Yeah.
though. Like the outcome is already
Yes.
pre-planned.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Well, Clark's right, though. As the player, that's your first big decision.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
know that unless you try to save Herschel's son first.
True.
That's the thing. Like there's a lot of fault. Like that seems like a giant decision, but it's actually not. The
But it's
same thing happens. The only thing it does is it affects your relationship with Kenny.
True. But
Herschel's still going to kick you off. You know, like that's the negative of his son dying. He's always going to kick you off the farm. But it's like, do you go in with Kenny being like, "That's cool, man," or like him being like, "You didn't even try to save my son"? Like,
yeah.
the fuck?
Unfortunately, like I get it. It was, I think, originally to just scare the player without them knowing, like, hey, shit, big stuff is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
But they literally, for that scene, if they did want to branch it off, they unfortunately put in a canon character that we know from the comics is dead. Like Herschel's son, he mentions it in the comics. He lost his son
Yep.
in the early days of the outbreak. So I don't know. It was planned, but literally they had to stick to a certain storyline on that one.
Yeah, what the hell was Maggie doing while this was going on?
I don't know.
Was she up in her bedroom alone?
Maybe.
Playing pocket pool.
Making some pocket juice.
Oh my god.
So I guess let's fast forward on episode 1 then, and let's talk about the Carly and Doug decision.
Yes. So, well, okay. The important thing is that you also meet another group of survivors. There's Doug, Carly,
Larry and Lily.
Larry, and Lily.
Who's the other character from the comics? I forget his name.
Oh, Glenn.
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 Glenn's there.
Glenn's in there.
So Larry immediately hates you. Lily is just trying to look out for her father, and that's pretty much it. Carly's really good with a weapon, and Doug is just a friendly dude.
He's really good with electronics.
Oh, yeah, he's good with electronics. I don't know. Doug never survives for me.
No, I also chose Carly.
Yeah,
I think-
she comes in handy.
I think I read that Carly, not that there's any real canon. Like, I don't know what the canon version of this story is. Not like the comics canon, but I mean the canon story for this season, Carly is the choice. I read somewhere.
Oh, really? I went with Doug.
I went with Doug this time. Last time, the first time I did it, I chose Carly. But I got to that pivotal moment in episode 3, which I hope we obviously will get to.
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
get to that. Outside the RV.
And
I chose Doug because I forgot where his storyline ended.
okay.
And I was like just curious to kind of refresh my memory on that.
Does it end outside of the RV in episode
It
3?
does.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is that where Carly's ends?
Yes.
Yes.
To the back of the head?
No.
No, Lily
Yeah.
shoots her in the face.
Oh.
Like
well,
point
yeah.
point
Oh,
blank.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was.
Jumping in front of Ben? Oh, okay. We'll
No.
get there when we talk
Yeah.
episode 3 then.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
What did you guys do with the girl that locked herself in the room at the end of episode 1?
Sorry.
I let her kill herself.
As did I. I've seen it the other way, though.
Where you shoot her?
Well, she, like, fights for the gun. I think they fall off the balcony or something like that.
Yeah.
I gave her the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did for this playthrough.
Oh.
I let her take herself out.
Okay. So it's like almost like predetermined path. If people...
She dies no matter what.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
absolutely. She's bitten. So it's gonna happen.
She had the immunity. She was the one person in the world
No.
that was immune.
No, this
And
is a
you
good
let her
game. You're
die.
confusing it with a bad game.
The only thing I was gonna say is like to wrap up episode 1. Let's hunker down at the motel now that it's cleared out of zombies,
Right.
and that's kind of where episode 2 picks up. I don't think like episode 1 like it's all about like learning these characters, which they're great characters, but I don't think there's too much of like anything super eventful that really happens in episode 1.
So at the end of episode 1, they give you a taste of the bandits are in the woods. It leaves that's the cliffhanger. Is there someone like traipsing around in the woods and they're looking? Yeah, episode 2 opens up with them all at the motel.
Starving.
Yeah, starving. They need supplies. They're doing supply runs.
Lily's in charge.
Kind of.
She's kind of taken a leadership
it's more-
role.
She's
Episode 3,
trying
in
to. There's a big infighting between Kenny and Lily on who's in charge. When really it's Lee. I mean, you're making all the decisions for the camp. They're fighting over who's number 2.
I guess also important to note just from episode 1 that Lee saves Larry, and Larry's still a fucking asshole. Who did you get food? Because you had to hand out the rations. Because that was the thing that really kind of put that in perspective. Is when
I had lead all 5.
these are all mine.
I'm feeling pretty
Sorry.
stuffed.
He's just
Sorry,
sitting behind the
CP.
truck with his crackers and cheese and an apple.
I ate too much, and then he throws up.
Everybody's
All
looking
pissed.
at me. I've got crumbs all over my shirt.
I gave everybody but Larry food, I believe.
I gave food to Larry.
I did not give.
Oh, you
food to
did?
Larry.
I wanted to see like, can you calm him down? He's still in.
No,
it.
he
So
gets
that's-
so
yeah.
No.
Yo, he gets so pissy when you don't give him food though. He's like,
Where's
and, like,
mine?
Lily's always like, "You're just against us. You didn't give my father food."
I
always
gave Lily food, and the kids food, and the Air Force guy. I gave him food. I didn't give Doug food. Later, he says, like,
Mark.
I could really go for some beef jerky."
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh my God.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Where are your legs, Mark? Anyway, what's for dinner, Mark?
Mark, you don't look so good.
So I guess I always give it usually to the kids. Like that's like almost like a no-brainer.
yeah.
Like, I think everybody in the camp, no matter who got fed or not, if you didn't feed the kids, I think they were going to be pissed off.
Yeah, because even Kenny is like, I'm really hungry, but you took care of my family or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I tried giving him food first, and then he's like, "What about my family? Did they eat?" It's like, "Talk to me after my family eats," or something like that.
Yeah,
He
Kenny won't take it until Duck eats at least.
yeah.
There's one important thing that we learn in episode 1 that we didn't discuss. and
What's
that's
that?
Kenny knows his son is stupid. Did anybody else get that
God.
dialogue option?
You know what? I think I actually.
He's like, I'd like to think it's because he's has a positive attitude, but
I think it's because he's dumb as
he's
a
just
sack of
he's
hammers.
kind of dumb.
Oh, okay. So hold on.
I'm from Florida. Things
I'm
just
just
come out of my mouth.
I just started re-looking at my notes, and there's 2 things I wanted to point out about this game in general.
Okay.
One, the type of foreshadowing is seen tons of times in the game. Like foreshadowing, there's always a hint a few scenes earlier about what's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe it's just like a quick pan or just like a quick look.
Yep. And the cop says something that is literally the theme of the game. He's like, people will go up and mad when they believe their life is over.
Ah.
That is like the theme for the whole fucking game. Literally, if you think about the events leading up to Lee walking up to the spot that he's going, we'll get to it, but like if you think about like what he does in a mad dash to help, it's crazy. It's nuts. It's mad.
Mad, I tell you, mad.
It's a mad world.
Mad world. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess it takes place where we go into the woods, we're hunting with Mark, looking for food, take a shot at a bird.
Oh,
and
you
then-
don't
I
shoot the bird?
I did not shoot at the bird.
There's no meat on the bird anyway.
You're not gonna, and then
We track the zombies.
They're
We shoot
hungry.
the bird.
and you're gonna attract the walkers.
The bullet's as big as the chest on the bird anyway.
The bullet is enormous!
What the fuck was that?
That's from Aqua Teen.
Aqua Teen.
Season 1,
Oh,
baby.
really?
The Moon Knights.
Oh my
We
God, I
are the
should know.
Moon Knights.
Oh my God, the fucking Moon Knights.
The bullet, The bullet is enormous. There is no
escaping. Yeah, you're gonna fry.
Get back inside. We're fighting.
Yeah.
There was a crazy Moon Knight quote, and
Moon and Knight.
The fuck,
Moon Knight.
Ralph?
Yeah,
Moon Knight.
sorry.
This isn't Marvel.
Moon Knight. Did I say? I said Moon Knight, didn't I?
Twice now.
Marvel Batman. No, I. Sorry.
You're hunting.
What about the Brood Witch? Yeah, the Brood Witch.
All right, let's get back to Walking Dead.
So you hear the screaming going on in the woods. Turns out one of Ben's friends
Fudge bomb.
got his foot stuck in a trap.
It was their teacher.
The bear trap.
Yeah, the bear trap.
Because it was Ben, his buddy. I'm just looking at
I didn't
the
catch
names.
their names. They didn't last very long.
Travis, and then there was the guy who, then it was their teacher who was caught in the bear trap.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's the band director.
It was.
I think.
It was something. It was something where they left from the school and they were part of the group. So and then
How'd you guys?
there's Teach with his foot in the bear trap.
How'd you guys handle that one?
I cut it the fuck off.
I don't think they give you much wiggle room there because you try to play with the trap, nothing happens.
Stuck in the trap, no wiggle room. Are you kidding me right now?
But I mean, I tried to do other things before hacking his leg off, and it all just kind of corrals it back into hacking his leg off.
That was the first option I went with. I wasn't gonna fiddle around with
Corrals.
Yeah. What?
Harry turned into Porky Pig there for a second.
Okay.
Did anyone else hear it?
Oh.
You're like, what I mean, they didn't.
I do that sometimes. I don't know what to tell you.
So it all comes down. No matter what you keep trying to do, you're always got to cut his leg off.
I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to my heart. Can you say that's all, folks, at the end of the episode? I believe that's all, folks.
And then when you're done, put your pants back on.
Yeah, no one wants to see your pigtail.
It does curl a little bit. That's weird.
Like a corkscrew.
So anyway.
Corkscrew penis.
Episode 2.
Oh, so this is when they discover, like they do in the show and in the comics, when they take, was it Travis, the teacher, back to operate on his leg.
Any way that you die.
Any way you die. And they're like, I didn't see any bites. And he comes back. And they're like, you don't have to be bitten.
It's like you didn't
back
know.
from the dead.
Yep. That's the most important part of that.
All
infected.
That's a Walking Dead theme in general
Yes,
that they're
it
just
is.
known for.
Yeah.
They all discover it.
Like it's a whole page in
second
the
act.
comic of just like Rick doing
Yeah.
his like normal like
We are the Walking Dead.
yeah.
It's a whole page. It's
That's
literally like
yeah.
a double page fucking spread.
So that's when they see the guys from the farm walking down the road, and then they, I guess, confront them at gunpoint, and then they say, "Hey, why don't you come back to the farm? We need
gas.
gasoline.
We need some gasoline.
You guys
We got
need
lots of
food."
Let's trade. I already knew right off the bat. I'm like, something's fucky with this.
Something's fucky.
Well, why? Wouldn't that be odd if you played through a whole chapter and nothing bad happened?
Well, no, it's like
Crickets. I'm hungry. Crickets. I kick soccer ball. Crickets.
I remember when I was playing the first time, and I hadn't figured out what the weirdness was. And there's just that air of like really weird things going on. Like everyone's like seems too nice and too forward and things like that.
Yeah, it's every time I come here.
Right. Yeah. So it actually terrified me when it was revealed that they were cutting up bodies and feeding them to people and eating them themselves. It was actually like really unnerving for me. Like sitting there, I was just like, I had goosebumps. I was like, oh God. Like it was a really just like surreal moment for me where I was like, oh cool, they're gonna fucking go there. Just like in the comics, they're gonna fucking go there. Because that's how Dale dies in the comics. Mm-hmm. Cannibals eat him.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So like it's just it's one of those things where I was like, wow, okay. Seeing it for some reason, I had read it and it creeped me out there.
Flesh, it's tainted meat or something. I remember that.
Yeah,
too.
but they're all like trying to throw it all up because they already ate Dale.
Right.
And like he's just like, fuck you, pieces of shit. It was just very like visceral seeing it in motion instead of just reading it on a page.
The way they did that scene in this game, it looked awesome. Like,
oh yeah,
especially so you find them upstairs in that like bathroom that's hidden behind a bookshelf.
Right.
Run down the stairs. You're running into the dining room. Did you get there in time before Clementine ate?
I want to know.
yes.
Yes.
I got there before she ate it. Duck,
Yeah.
however, was like
Chowing down.
Chowing down.
Mommy, this is really delicious.
taking that away from me? Like, shut up, bitch.
I think the first time I played, I missed the time because I remember later it's like explain to Clementine what she ate or don't, and I think I was like, I'm not gonna tell her what she ate. I remember doing that, but this time I got there. This time I got there in time.
So like there's a great build up at this scene. Like first of all, that like confrontation when he runs into that dining room.
It's super tense. The whole scene is incredibly tense.
I love it how it's just like sinking into the minds of the people sitting around. Like, because at first they're like, "What are you doing? Sit down.
You're
have
scared
Were
of
you
the
direct?
kids.
Were you direct about
Oh,
it?
I was extremely
yeah.
direct.
Me too. Okay.
But still, people were like pushing back on it. Like, no, that can't be a thing. And even them there were still treating you as like welcome guests in a way. And they're like,
Well, they're trying to keep the facade up because they're like, okay, cool, Lee's going to be next in our eyes.
that particular part of the scene ends with Mark crawling down the stairs and just right in the room. Like that was like the final moment where everybody was just
It's true.
But then like the like I screamed to Lily to grab a knife real quick, and then they're pulling out their gun. Like it's just like this. Like it just when you think it can't get any more intense, and then boom, it goes up another notch.
Yeah, I told Kenny to get his gun.
Okay.
And then you get rifle butt in your face.
Yep.
So it spills into they're all locked up in the meat locker, right?
My favorite scene
really?
of the game.
Really?
This was
wow. Okay.
This was good.
Cool.
I hated Larry.
Larry?
I hated him. I personally, if I was in that, after he had sucker punched me when you're leaving the deli, the market.
Oh, that's right.
He sucker punches you. Yeah. I would have woke up, walked over, grabbed a pistol, put him on the fucking ground, because I wasn't acting irrationally when I was still like, oh, I'll just try to save everybody.
Right.
I would have just put him on the ground and shot him in the back of the head. Done. Nope. Too much of a betrayal.
So they're locked in this meat locker. Huge disagreements over like what to do next. They're essentially trapped. They don't have any way out.
Larry's being a dumbass, hitting against the door too hard.
Yeah, and then he has a heart attack and collapses to the ground. So another big decision in the game.
Big decision.
What did you guys do here?
I tried to help him.
Okay. Actually,
And-
I don't know how that pans out.
It doesn't matter.
I figured it doesn't.
No, because it's pretty much where Kenny still comes and smashes his head with the brick. Now, the fun part is you're looking down over Larry and you're trying to give him CPR. You go like 1, 2, 3, 4, brick. Like, and you see it. You look at his face and you're looking down and he smashes Larry with the brick. And the Easter egg part, because you're hitting X to do chest compressions, even after the brick hits, if you hit X, 5. So here's Larry with a fucking smashed head, and you're trying to give CPR to a dead man.
Does it pump blood like all over the brick? Because that'd be cool.
No, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, brick. And I even waited a second, and I'm like, X, 5.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I laughed so fucking hard. I probably woke my neighbor up because I was playing like real late. Like I could not stop laughing at that.
That's awesome.
Funny. That's pretty
It
fucking
was
funny.
good.
Oh
It was
my
so
God.
good. They probably have it on YouTube. It's definitely worth looking
They were
at.
coding the game. They're like, or they were testing it. They're like, oh, that's a glitch.
I immediately was like, Lily, we have to do what we have to do. Kenny, get the fucking cinder block. And he's just like,
Kenny,
she's like,
get
wait,
the
no, I
sublet."
could probably save him with some CP. Just
Now, I gotta say, though.
became a blockhead.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if we were actually in this situation, though, I think Kenny rushed it by a long shot. Like, maybe there was a chance. Like, even when the zombies start coming back, they do come back at a very slow pace. Like, they could have waited until they confirmed that he turned and then just, like, have the block
Just
ready.
watch him. Yeah, just watch him. And
Like,
if he
I
turns.
think, like, literally he collapsed to the floor and within, like, a minute, boom, there's a block on his head. I think, like, I would have had to side with Lily if this was an actual thing. I know how it plays out, so that's why I chose what I did, but I think Kenny jumped the gun by a long shot on that one.
Just a little bit.
Based on how he actually was, probably would have been all about Kenny just caving his fucking head in. Like I said, we wouldn't have even gotten to that point because I would have walked up and shot him.
Don't really feel a lot of remorse, but I have to agree with Harry that it was quick to do.
Did you
in the game.
Nah,
did you-
fuck 'em.
Which did you choose?
I feel like this is a broken record here. The first time I played it, I tried to stop Kenny, or at least I tried to help Larry. And this time I was like, nope, I'm just gonna, because you have to pull Lily off. You have to yank her off.
Oh,
of
really?
him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the most fucked up part is as Lee, you have to
Kinda-
pull her back.
Yeah.
Kinda
And
messed
then
up.
Kenny's just like, all right, here we go.
I got this. Yeehaw! Brick.
I'm gonna get a boat.
Oh, my God. I wish he would have just yelled brick as he brick!
So you eventually get out of the meat locker. Good job, Clementine. Getting
After
through
you
the
loot his corpse.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You do. That was funny. You had to loot. It's like, Lily, I'm sorry, but your dad said he had change. I'm gonna need some of that
Yeah, I need a quarter.
to unscrew screws. Just for reference, people. It's not like they're going down to get a soda pop.
You
Yeah.
should have saved
Ooh.
that quarter. It would have come in handy way later.
Yeah. So then you have the option once you're confronting everybody of I forget how the brothers die, because I know the one.
You sneak up on the
Oh
one.
yeah, you
Well,
sneak up on the one.
You don't have to kill him.
Oh yeah, you don't.
Did you play pacifist?
Not. No, but I didn't kill the brothers.
Oh,
Oh.
I killed both of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't kill the guy with the pitchfork, and I let the other brother. I beat the other brother's face, and then just let him go, and the walkers came and got him.
I kicked him into the electric fence.
That was pretty
and
awesome.
and I stabbed the other one with a pitchfork right through the chest.
Yeah, they both
Yeah, fuck
totally
them.
died.
I'm sorry. No, cannibalism.
That is the moment where I started changing my play style, where I went from, all right, try to do the group and be there for everybody, to no, I'm fucking taking charge now. It's like that. I don't know. There was something that just made me switch.
Before we get past that scene, though, I really, really like how they did that one moment where you're walking up to the house and looking through the screen door.
And you can pretend to be the brothers or her son or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't buy it. I tried to lie my
Yeah,
way.
she
through
didn't
it.
buy
I
it.
tried too.
But just the slow progression and intensity build up there, where
The
I
staircase.
fucked up at that scene so many times too. I got shot in the face
Oh.
multiple times.
Oh really?
Yeah, where I was creeping closer to her too fast, or said the wrong thing, But I just like that whole build up scene. You're just trying to get her to back up so that zombie just catches her by the hair.
Mark, don't forget it's Mark. He's still helping. He's dead, but he's still
Oh,
helping.
that is Mark.
Yeah.
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 Mark.
No, I like it too.
Old legless Mark.
The thunderstorm
Yes.
and her creeping up, and then you see Mark, and you're like, okay, I just have to get her to that point, and we'll be okay.
I think it's a really cool scene. I like the way it looks. I think it's fantastic.
You know what's even creepier about that scene is they took Mark back upstairs, probably to take more
Oh yeah.
meat off of him.
I didn't even think about
because he was
that.
downstairs.
Yeah, he fell down the stairs during
when you
the dinner
get
table.
when you get rifle butted in the face.
I get rife butted all the time.
Do you get rife butted?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I bet you do. With your
I just walked into it.
Kentucky long rifle,
Oh, God.
Good old Pennsyltucky Ralph.
pencil Tucky Ralph.
No, it's a pencil. Shut up, both of you. Let's get back to Stubby
It's a
Mark.
pencil Tucky long rifle.
I cannot tell you this confidential. Anyway, how is your sex life? Oh, hi, Stubby Mark.
Oh, hi, Stumpy Mark.
Stumpy Mark. He didn't have a leg to stand on.
Jeez.
People are very strange
'Cause they
these
ate 'em.
days.
Yeah, so they must have taken him back up to harvest more meat off of him.
Probably.
Jesus.
To me, at that point, you're the same thing as fucking zombies. You're taking live people and killing them.
But you're worse because you're
Intelligent.
You're torturing them to keep them alive, to keep the meat fresh.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't save them and say, I think you've learned your lesson. The guy was in a bear trap, and the other guy, I beat him to a bloody pulp, and his whole face was swollen, and his teeth were missing. And then the zombies hit the house. I didn't leave them alive to continue their work.
But maybe they did. You don't
Oh,
know.
God.
You didn't actually.
I gotta go
finish
back and play the
anybody.
game again. I gotta kill him.
You didn't finish any of them off.
Sounds really dork.
It was really
dork.
awesome.
Sounds really dork.
That sounds really dork. I can talk with my mouth words.
It was really awesome just to Sparta kick the guy right into the electric fence.
Oh hell yeah!
That was so good. He's like, Fuck you.
And it was funny too. You get like 3 things. Like Kenny will remember this. Clementine is confused. Like
And all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
I just like there's so many times where it pans to Kenny's face and he's just like
It's like
just nodding, just a slow nod of approval, like, yeah, we badasses, we doing it.
I'm from Florida.
Yeah. Kenny makes a racist comment.
The urban thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, about lockpicking.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how to do that? I'm like, no. Why would you think that? He's
Well,
like,
you know,
you're
Because
You're urban.
urban.
I
He's
don't
like, man, I'm from Florida. Things just come out of my mouth like that.
That was
Ooh,
kind of funny.
Ooh, Kenny. Ooh.
So to wrap up episode 2,
The station wagon?
the station wagon on your way back to the motel.
I have question. Does anyone?
You have questions.
I have
That's what I heard too.
I was on a question.
Yeah, I have question.
I have
I have question.
Do you
I have
question?
I have question.
my wife.
Yes, question.
Welcome to Quest. How can I quest you?
Yes, question. I have question. Did anyone not take supplies?
I did not.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
I did not take supplies.
Cool, because I'd like to hear how that pans out.
Yep.
I
I want to
don't-
know exactly how the conversation went at the end of the game.
Okay.
So it was pretty much at the end of the game or at the end of that scene.
No, the end of the game.
End of the game.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Directly
Just-
involves
Just
that
knowing
scene.
that you didn't take the supplies.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like
Because they took them anyway, right?
Yeah.
the group was like
The group-
really against you taking the supplies, given even their dire situation that they were currently in anyway.
Really?
Like,
They were against you taking them.
yes.
See, because when I said no, Kenny and the rest of them were like, "Well, we're still taking them." And then there's even one where I think it was I forget who went in and found. I think it was Katya found like a jacket for Clem, and then
It's a hoodie.
a hoodie. Still didn't take it. She didn't. She declined it.
She wore the hoodie the rest of my playthrough.
Yep.
So you guys too,
Mine
right?
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she had no hoodie, and I was kind of worried about that. I'm like, how far is this going to go? Is it going to get into like wintertime? Is that going to be an adverse decision or something?
She's
But
cold now.
So when you said I don't want to take the supplies, but you basically looted the car anyway.
everyone else did. While Clementine and I stood back and we watched everybody rummage and take all the supplies.
That's crazy because Lily is so against it.
Yeah.
No, she was pretty excited about it. All of them were just rooting through.
She's a fucking shell.
Although
The rest of the game, she's like, ooh, canned goods.
the only thing that you did take was you were still given batteries.
Yeah.
That still happens even though you take nothing else out of it. The batteries still.
Hey, I found these.
Okay, wait, I got a question just to go back real quick. When you're leaving the barn and going toward the house, if you chose Carly, how are you signaled? Or how does that...
Yeah, with Doug,
out.
he hits you with a laser pointer.
Yeah, Doug has the laser pointer.
to let you know that him and Ben are in the corn, essentially, before you run into the house.
Doug and Ben are in the corn. That explains a lot.
Run into what house?
To the lady, the
farmhouse.
farmhouse. Like
Just
after you
before
break
do
out
the
of the meat
hostage
locker,
situation.
you go outside. Doug hits you with a laser pointer from out in the corn, and then you could tell him, "Hey, go around back," or you can actually give him direction on where to go.
Yeah.
They don't really have any effect on the scene.
No.
I don't think Carly's in that scene at all. Carly comes up and shoots somebody later in the scene. She shows up at the farm.
Okay.
I think she shoots the one brother who's trying to shove Lee into the electric fence
Yep.
Okay.
Shoots him dead, or just shoots.
No,
him
Just
wounded?
shoot.
She like shoots him in the shoulder.
and gets
And
him
he-
to stop.
Yeah, and then you beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
but
then
that's when Carly shows up for that.
Okay.
She's not in any of it
Interesting.
leading up.
Because there's something that Doug does with the trailer or the motel. I'm hoping is unique, but he hooks up a bell system on the gate for if anybody comes through the gate.
Yeah, that's not with Carly. I don't think so.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Carly just
'Cause
gives
that-
sexual favors.
Because the bell thing, I guess.
Nothing?
Does she? Was that your playthrough?
No. Actually, I tried to romance her in my first playthrough.
How?
I don't know. I think I gave her food and talked to her a lot.
Yeah,
I didn't know how the
so-
game worked.
So
They
that
start-
does
That's a
open
thing.
up.
That's
That does
yeah.
slowly start opening up.
Well,
Nothing-
Carly?
Yeah, no, like she starts to become
Birder.
more romantically interested.
Oh.
But then, of course, episode 3 happens. Well,
Episode
the end of
3.
episode 2, or is that
No, that's mid 3.
okay? Mid
Mid
3.
'Cause
All right, let's get to.
There's
let's-
Motel 3, Traveling
true.
3, Train 3.
Okay, let's get to episode 3.
Episode 3 breaks down into 3 main sections. When you're still at the motel, this actually has one of my favorite dialogues. So you find Lily comes to you and says somebody's stealing supplies.
Right.
So you start this investigation with Duck tagging along. Did you have Duck help you with the
did.
investigation?
I kept
Doesn't
telling
matter.
him to go the fuck away,
It
and he was
doesn't
like,
matter.
"No, I'm gonna help anyway."
He helps you either way.
There's a lot of comic relief in this section of
Yeah.
the game, though. Like it's
Thank you.
really, really funny.
Yeah.
So you talk to Clementine, right? And you're like, "Did you accidentally break the flashlight?" And she's like, "Why? Did Duck say I did? He's always blaming me for stuff." And then you're like what? And she says, "Putting a bug on his pillow." And then Lee is like, "Did you?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later you're talking to Duck and you ask him, "Have you found anything else?" And he's like, "I found some bugs underneath the staircase. Don't tell Clementine." and Lee is like, "Okay, I won't."
All right.
It's just like this little hidden gem of dialogue just to really like take you out of like the survival aspect of the game, but to throw in a little bit of comic relief.
I thought it was really funny when he brings Lee the chalk, and he's like, "Look, I found some chalk," and he's like, "Clementines play with chalk," and Duck's like, "She does." It's like yeah, and then Lee just looks at him. And he's like, "Go on." Like, go away.
You got to give Duck a high five, and then it's
the
like,
Duck-
Duck.
Oh, did
Oh, I
everybody
did
hit
that.
the high
Yeah.
five?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I've missed it before, and
You're supposed to look at the elbow.
not this again.
no, I just remember on a past playthrough, I think he's just kind of like waiting and like staring at his hand, like like disappointed kind of thing that you didn't high five it. So you see the chalk line that's under the dumpster when you're about to leave the motel area.
Yeah.
I like that Duck is standing there like Superman the entire time. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
Look at this fucking clue I just fucking found. And he's like so fucking proud of it.
I
Oh,
broke
yeah.
the case.
I don't know. I thought that was funny. But it's a real time sink of a scene, but it's like really good character building. There's some really funny dialogue in there, but
It seems like it's the only scene that's intentionally funny
Yes.
throughout the whole game. A little bit of time to have some fun. Let's have some fun with it. And the rest of the game is just back to who's going to die? Am I going to chop off my own arm? Or am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? It's just all so fucking heavy all the time.
Yeah.
We find out that there is the hidden shit, or I guess pills or food or whatever was stashed.
supplies.
Med supplies, yeah.
Oxy and stuff.
I don't like how instantaneous the thugs came out of the woods and they're like, "Where's our fucking supplies?" Like literally like
Oh, they had everybody
two-
on their knees and everything. Just like
2 minutes after you discover the hiding spot. Like you would think they would pick it up maybe once every 24 hours or something like that. But like
So there is weird instant payoffs to things like this that bother me a little bit. All right, so right initially when you start meeting survivors in the beginning of the game, I forgot to bring this up. I wanted to bring it up now, though. Everybody within the first 24 hours of the outbreak is just like, "Oh, I miss how it was like it used to be. Like it was like years ago, and they've just been surviving. Like it's instantaneous survivor guilt." And they're like reminiscing about the past and stuff. It's like it was 24 hours ago. You really don't know if it's how long this is going to last. It just seemed really out of place for everyone to instantly be like, "Oh, things are never going to be the same again." Like you don't know that. It's not.
at the motel, aren't they there for 3 months though?
I'm talking about before the motel,
talking
like
about, like,
Herschel's farm.
Herschel's farm.
And that's in the first day or two of the outbreak.
But they were at the motel for a long time, but it's like you're taking the bag literally like over to Lily
Oh, right.
as the bandits are like, "Where's our supply?" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't it seem like a little weird with the timing of everything?
Yeah, I don't think the bandits would come and pick that stuff up during the day either.
True. They'd probably send somebody out at night.
Yeah.
So it's a bit wonky, but I guess they didn't want to spend any more time at the motel. It's time to move on. Let's not waste any time in the game.
That one's particularly bad because you go in and you talk to Lily, and you reach a point in the dialogue, and then doesn't she like sit up or stand up and go, oh shit, and like everybody in the camp has been rounded up, they're down on their knees, and all the bandits have guns on them.
They
So
they start yelling.
They yell?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, because that one does stand out as like that, I'm going to say immediate payoff thing, like you said. The other ones, they didn't really bug me that much.
All right, so they round everybody up.
I guess zombies instantly attack, or
Well,
I guess Lily takes a shot from the balcony.
Yeah, and that starts drawing zombies in.
Got it.
You're right, she leaves the back window.
Now, this is the one thing. So, you know when you're on the other side of the RV and you're shooting left and right?
yeah.
Specifically when the walkers start coming in, there's a bell ding every time a walker comes through based on the contraption that Doug set up on the fence. So it lets you know, boom, there's one on the right. Boom, there's one on the left. So you can kind of...
Yeah, you have to manually check with Carly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured.
Although Carly takes shots and kills some of them. The night before all of this happens is when you start to see this romantic bond between Carly and Lee play out a little bit.
What does she say?
It's nothing too crazy. It's just like, it's just really, really distant emotion from both of them. But there's like emotions there. They kind of like, they speak about it, but not in like a context of like, oh, I love you or anything like that. It's very subtle.
Okay.
But it's there, and someone questions him about it too.
Kenny?
No, I think it's Katja after, or Katya.
Yeah, gotcha.
Katja, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a weird fucking name.
It's
Well,
after that.
Katya.
She's like, "Oh, I know you had like some feelings there."
I know that
he's
you and
like-
Carly had some feelings.
and
I want to suck your blood.
and
I'm not sure Doc will get through the winter. Where is Katja from? I'd like to know. How did they meet? Those
Florida.
two don't seem like they belong in a relationship together. Is she supposed to be Cajun? Is that it? Because I was always like, I don't understand this accent. What is this accent?
Maybe.
Where did they meet? Online? I don't get what's going on here.
She may have been.
They don't seem like a couple.
mail order bride.
Mail order. They don't seem like a couple. And then Duck's just like, I'm an idiot. It's like, where did this
I mean, Katja is a Russian name.
So she is Russian.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I
Or-
don't know. I don't.
Yeah, she could
They
be
didn't really get into
mail order Russian.
I take Doug back to Ukraine. He'd be better in Chernobyl.
Right before everybody gets on the RV, zombies attack Katja and Duck. You shoot them off, and then everybody gets on the RV. Like, there's no other way that scene can play out, right? Like, maybe Katja doesn't make it or something like that.
No,
Like,
no.
no.
She made it.
He always gets bit.
So you take off down the road, and then you hit a walker while driving.
Yeah, and then it gets lodged under your RV, and you got to go out and check it out.
Now, Lily is so focused on who was giving out the supplies, and she's basically pinpointed it, all her blame on Ben at this point. And you don't know.
So
Oh.
in mine, she pins it on either Ben or Carly. She's like,
Interesting.
it's one of you. Who is it? All you need to do is rat the other person out, and this can be over. And Carly's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to have you kill somebody else. And I'm not going to answer any of your questions. She's like, grow the fuck up. She's like, there's no reason to do this. And Ben's not coughing up to it either.
And mid-sentence, Lily just shoots her in the face.
Yeah, Kenny's like, what's going on? Don't do anything. Hold on, don't do anything. He pulls the
Yeah.
walker out,
Right.
and as he starts walking up, Lily just shoots Carly in the fucking face. What did you do?
Real quick, I'll give you a little synopsis of what Ralph and I saw. So it's cool that two of us picked Carly and two of us picked Doug. 'Cause, like,
Yeah,
It's almost like we planned it. But we didn't.
We
this
did
time.
it.
Yeah,
It's
we did not.
But it feels like one of those 50-50s when two take Claire and two take Leon, and then somebody fucks up and third person takes Leon.
Yeah.
But
Wait, hold on. Who fucked up and took Leon? Wait, hold on. Who fucked up and took Leon? It wasn't supposed to?
Lee, it was me.
but anyway, so
Ralph.
she really
I did.
has it out for Ben, blaming Ben. They're putting it up to a vote on what to do about Ben and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
and
they
then,
vote. Yeah.
And then she just gets so pissed off and goes to shoot Ben. Doug jumps in front, takes the bullet to the back of the head
Oh, shit.
to save Ben.
Yeah.
So you jack Lily up against the RV, knock the gun out of her hand, and you are faced with the decision to leave her or, I guess, keep her with the group.
I left her crazy ass.
I left her as well.
I left her.
I brought her with.
I know what happens if you bring her with.
And after she stole the RV and stranded us, even though it doesn't really matter,
Wait,
I reloaded. Okay, so if you bring her along, you like give the gun to Ben, and Ben's just like sitting there on the table pointing the gun at Lily. And you travel until you reach the train like you would normally, and then when everyone gets off of the RV to investigate the train, she's left in the RV by herself. When you go back to like get the pencil so you can make the roughing of the instructions to start the train, she'll say, "I could have killed you. You were defenseless and I could have fucking killed you," or whatever. And then I actually can't remember how it happens, but she steals the RV and goes with it. After that happened, I was like, fuck, and I just rewound my game to the previous save and left her. I don't know what happens to her ultimately.
No,
if
you
she
don't.
takes the RV, she might.
Oh, if you
She
take
might-
if you take the RV, I have no idea. I know what happens if you leave her though. It's explained. The serial killer dude.
Does he say like you left a woman stranded? Yada yada yada.
I heard her bad. He kills her too.
Okay. Well, we'll dissect that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you run into Chuck the hobo, who unfortunately does not have a shotgun.
Oh my god, that would have made my fucking day if
wouldn't have been?
Chuck had a shotgun.
He's not playing the guitar. He's like polishing his shotgun.
Yeah.
He's like the guy with all the advice, though. He has like all this like old man hobo wisdom.
The wise janitor.
Well, do you know why? Because that dude's been surviving without like modern society for years.
He cuts
He's
his
like,
own
oh
hair.
yeah, I know how to do this because I've been doing it already.
I know how to drink and cut my own hair
And play the guitar.
and play the guitar.
But previously, before you do get off the RV, it is revealed Duck has been bitten
Oh,
from
right, yeah.
from the motel raid.
Right.
So Katja just stays with Duck, and you're kind of exploring this train with Kenny.
But they're all in denial, by the way. They're all in like complete denial that he's gonna just turn, and that's it. They're all just
They
like,
just
oh,
wanna
we'll
spend their last-
We'll wait it out. We'll do
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of funny because Kenny was like, "All right, we gotta kill Larry. It's time to go." And when it's Duck, he's like, well, "Maybe there's a pill or something." Or,
Well, it's because Larry was dead.
Well, okay,
And
fair
posed an immediate threat.
Fair
They
point.
knew that Duck was. They could get space from Duck.
Duck was so stupid. He turned into a zombie. He'd probably eat plants anyway.
Yeah, people that eat plants are fucking retards.
Fucking idiot. Well, if you're a
So are
zombie,
people that say retards.
Oh man. So anyway,
I couldn't resist.
I did want to talk. So I failed. You know that scene where Katja's like, "It's time. We need to stop the train." With Duck.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's that scene where you have to confront Kenny and get him to stop the train. Did anybody fail there?
You mean like fight him?
Yeah,
Or
where
you do fight him, or try to talk him out of it,
I
or
talked him out of it.
I tried to talk to him, and then it didn't go my way, and ended up fighting him.
Okay, well, I failed, where I didn't fight him or anything. He just kind of shut down. We're not stopping the fucking train. So you turn around and go back to the car where Katja, Duck, and Clementine, and Ben,
Okay.
and Chuck are. And you open the door, everybody's dead.
really, and Duck is just like,
Yeah, and then Duck lunges at you, and then it's like, you died.
You're full of
Wow.
it. You're full of
No,
it. I don't believe
everybody
this.
like it's just a bloody mess. You see like Clementine's hat just like covered in blood, like it's just like a blood
Jeez.
smear.
Wow.
I doubt
Schmear?
Schmear.
Mr. Pap Schmear?
I doubt that kid could have taken down all of them as a
Yeah,
zombie,
there's
let alone
no
even
fucking
one
way.
of like.
he probably could have gotten Katja.
He could have got Ben.
Yeah, he probably could have gotten Katja just sitting because she was
Yeah.
cradling him
Right
She
near
probably-
her neck.
Yeah.
I was just like, every time I saw it, I was like, is he going to turn yet? Is he going to bite her neck?
No way he would fucking take down everybody.
I gotta look that cutscene up. That's funny
That's crazy.
that they went to that length to do that. I didn't know you could fail to
Yeah,
stop
no, I
Kenny.
failed because I didn't fight him. Like I just argued with him, and it was like Kenny's way or the highway. By the end of that conversation, the second one I just went in like fist ready, like just like but you don't even say anything to him. You're just like swinging a fist almost.
Stop the fucking train.
Kenny, this is how I deal with things urban.
So there's that scene where you do stop the train, say the goodbyes to Doc and Katja apparently.
Guys, I had some feels.
Catch us a surprise.
Did anybody
Yeah.
else catch some feels
did.
there?
I did a little bit, yeah.
Dang. I mean,
It's probably one of the darkest scenes in the game. Well, maybe not darkest, but most
yeah.
heart-wrenching.
The ending?
Heart-wrenching, yes. The scene with the doctor at the end hit a nerve with me.
But yeah, things just really hit the fan.
Yeah, Ketcha comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, like she just couldn't deal with it. Like she seemed like emotionally capable to handle that situation, and then shit hits the fan out in the woods.
Well, and the thing is, she didn't kill Duck. She actually killed herself before Duck died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She couldn't handle seeing someone kill him.
Who shot Duck?
Lee.
Who shot Ketcha?
I had Lee.
The gun went off, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
It makes you wonder, like, when did she get the gun? Like, did she ask for it from Kenny? Like, did she grab it from Kenny?
Kenny, I give you blowski. Give me gun.
I
expected it from somebody else.
She carried Duck out.
Yeah.
So she didn't have the gun in her hand.
It might have been Kenny, because Kenny was having such a hard time. She could have said to Kenny, "It's like, I'll do this."
She could have.
But I
pulled it from
already
his back
told
pocket.
Lee ahead of time, I'm going to be right out. I just got to explain it more or less to Clementine. Like, he knew Lee was going to do it. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like,
She could have caught the gun off Kenny, though.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, she grabbed for it
Right.
when he wasn't looking or something.
No, I thought Katja was like, no, I'll do it. It should be one of us. And Lee hands her the gun. And
I
then
don't remember.
she goes back to Duck looking at him and blows her brains out.
Because I think they're having a discussion about who should do it, and you can choose Kenny, Katya, or Lee.
I didn't know Katja was an option.
Yes, Katja is an option there.
And then that's when you can first say, "I'll do it," and then I think that's when she says, "All right, give us a minute to say goodbye," or something like that.
Yeah, she walks over and
And then
shoots herself.
and that's when you hear the gunshot, and you run up, and there she is, dead on the ground. There's poor Duck just leaning up against the tree, dying, and Kenny just in complete dismay. And then I had Lee shoot Duck.
All right, so you take the train down the track.
You run into Omid and Crystal in this chapter, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I thought that was
end.
the next chapter, but no, that is this chapter.
I think
segment.
one.
You
I
talking
think-
about segments?
I
Yeah.
think the rest of this chapter is actually pretty boring. The main thing is, like, you see your first horde that actually is following the train. You meet Omid and Krista. You pretty much recruit them. You're kind of feeling each other out. And then you go to you go to Savannah.
Yeah. Well, I think there's just two important notes to take away, but I don't think we need to discuss it. Number one, because of the train, it's bringing a herd behind them,
Yeah.
which comes into play
Oh.
later in the game.
Yes.
Right.
And number two, at the end of the chapter, you hear somebody on the other end of the walkie that Clementine has been carrying around.
Yes.
And talking to.
Yes, and talking to.
Yeah.
And who
which is
knows what
creepy.
information she's been giving.
Well,
person.
obviously,
We'll find out.
enough because they said Lee's name. Over it when the guy was on the other end, he said, "Oh, and come get your parents no matter what Lee says." And then it cuts, and then you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
They always end on a good cliffhanger.
They do. And I like the I know I've discussed this before, but you know how when they're like previously on The Walking Dead and they
Yeah.
do the little recap thing. I will actually talk about that in gameplay or graphics, but I do have a issue with it. Wait, what system did everybody play on?
PS4.
PC.
PS3.
360.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh.
You know what's really crazy? You can play it on Comcast. They had like a Walking Dead thing. I don't know if it's exactly this, but they had Walking Dead Season 1 Telltale.
I think it's also a mobile or tablet.
Yeah, it's
I heard
a mobile
the
game.
port to the mobile is like really good too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it transitions well because it's tap.
But they have like I guess different mechanics with the tap and slide and all that stuff, but all right, episode 4.
we're in Savannah now, right?
We're in Silent Hill now.
Yeah. So this is where it opens up with Lee and Kenny on the supply run, or am I too far ahead?
No, that's back.
That's way back.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was episode 2.
Yeah.
Beginning of
Oh,
episode 2.
crap.
This is when they're kind
That's
of
in Macon, which we didn't talk about at all.
Oh,
The first like
yeah.
half of the game is like, I'm from Macon. Gotta get to Macon. Where's Macon? Let's
Got
go to
it.
Macon.
Because there was one that I wanted to ask is when they're climbing up onto the box truck to get into to go take the supplies, and there's the girl that's screaming down at the end of the street who's
Right.
being chased down, and you have the option of either shooting her to like take her out of her misery or just let her be eaten.
And that changes how much time you have in
Yeah.
drugstore.
Okay. All right. That was way
Pharmacy.
far back. But I just wanted to know who did everybody just let her scream?
I shot her.
I thought I saw her get bit, so I said, there it is, and didn't shoot her.
I was curious. All right. So sorry.
Cool.
Episode 4.
So they're all basically walking cautiously down the road, beginning of episode 4. You got your whole group.
The bell rings, right?
The bell
Yeah.
rings,
Yeah.
and you see somebody up in the tower. I guess we find out later. It's Molly later in the chapter. But so you essentially get chased into the backyard of a house.
Oh,
Yep.
right.
I thought this was a little bit of a...
Filler?
No, I like everything about this. Like, I like the pace of this episode. Like, I like the setting of this episode.
I thought it was a little drawn out. There's a lot of talk and not a lot of actual progression in the way of their main reason for being there.
You
you
get
like the-
separated from Chuck almost immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
You see Ben run away from Clementine during this herd scene. Like, after the bell rings, like, he just
Dips her.
Yeah.
Dips out on her.
Crap.
didn't even grab her hand to run the way he did.
No.
Like, he does nothing.
We skipped this. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back just a little bit to the train. When the train is in motion, and I keep referencing the, Lee, it was me. Like, that's Ben confessing that he was the one that took the pills and did all
Oh,
that.
right. Yes.
And that, like, pissed me off so much when I was playing. I was like, oh, God. I was like, I don't want to reload that chapter and do this all over again and, like, say, fuck him, do whatever and, like, get rid of him. I was genuinely pissed off when I found out that I had defended the kid and it turns out he was guilty. I mean, like, I didn't, like, kill him or anything.
On purpose, yeah. You get several opportunities to leave him
To
for
let
dead.
him. I didn't let him, but that was a lot of good stuff in episode 3 now that I'm thinking on it, because that's in episode 3 as well.
That episode 3, not to linger on it, but it felt like the longest chapter to me, though. Like,
I would agree.
Yeah.
that one took, it felt like 3.5, almost 4 hours.
Well, 4 is long, too.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
4's like probably 3-4 hours.
The thing that always sticks with me with this chapter is digging up that dead dog to get in the dog door,
The
because
collar.
it has the electronic collar to sneak into that house.
And then with the boy, you put him...
Oh, and the
Yeah.
boy up in the attic that you discover when you're
Yep.
searching the house.
Yeah, when Kenny goes up and doesn't come back down, and I think Ben was trying to get his attention and just wasn't answering. And then once again, you have a decision. It's like, who shoots him? And then I just had Lee do it again because I just think Kenny's in PTSD.
I didn't even shoot him. I beat his brains in with the
A wrench.
wrench.
Oh wait, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't shoot, but yeah, it wrenched him.
I was curious, and I looked at it. Apparently, your friendship with Kenny is boosted if you let him do it, because it's almost like cathartic for him
Closure.
to... And he even says, like, it kind of looks like Duck, doesn't he? And he's, like, all skinny and everything because he starved to death.
Yeah.
If you let Kenny do it, your friendship grows.
So I guess you go to investigate for a boat because Kenny cannot get that fucking idea.
Gotta get a
out
boat.
of-
Where's the boat? Where's the boat? Where's the boat?
Get a boat, get a boat, get
Need
a
a
boat.
boat.
So that's when you start learning about, what's that little town?
Crawford.
Crawford. You learn about Crawford through Molly that you discover down at the docks. You get separated from another herd because of the ringing bells, dive into the sewer, and then you stumble across the Cancer Patient Society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry? God.
That's what they are. They're all
A
cancer
little bit
survivors.
of... they're all in remission. You're right.
Not sensitive enough for you, Ralph.
No! Yeah, that's kind of fucked up. It's like they kicked out the survivors. People that beat cancer, they kicked them out.
So where does that get us to?
Well, the sewers were stupid, I thought.
You confirm that Charles is dead, or Chuck's dead.
Yeah,
Poor Chuck.
which is a bummer. I
He
liked him as a
found-
character.
He found a pistol. I thought that was interesting that Lee didn't even question that remotely. Where did he get that pistol?
Who, Chuck?
Yeah. Chuck has a revolver on him.
He had it
Yeah.
the whole time.
He might have had it the whole time.
He might have.
Crap, another thing from Chapter 3. Did anybody cut Clementine's hair?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Or did you wait?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Cut it.
Cut it.
I liked that scene. I liked that whole bit where you train her how to
Shoot.
fire a gun. You cut her hair.
And Chuck's the one that tells you to do that.
Chuck
He's like,
is the one that
you need
tells you
to
to do
do
that.
that just in case you don't survive.
Yeah, that's what.
Which is, again, foreshadowing.
So you get back to the house finally, and then you're looking for Clementine in a panic because you haven't seen her. She discovers the boat, which Kenny is super excited about.
He was a
then,
happy
He was
boy.
drinking, right? He was drinking because there's no boat.
Yeah.
But then that's when you discover, hey, we need parts to fix
Do you
this
want the
boat.
good news or the bad news?
So you decide, hey, we need to go to this town to get the parts for the boat.
Mhm.
Crawford.
And Vernon comes with you at this point. Bree shows up with him later.
So you're there. There's like almost like 3 different segments to it, or 4 actually. So the first,
It's long. Crawford is a long thing, and you're going through several areas twice.
yeah, more or less, like to get the battery. That was a double backing.
You go
Was it?
discover it's there, and then you go back again. The TV falls on that one zombie. This
Yeah,
That was
time.
funny.
yeah.
That was funny. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
That's a good Lee quote right there.
It's not Lee,
So Kenny goes to get the
unfortunately.
gasoline, right?
Yes.
So that's one part you really don't technically have to do.
Is get the gas, yeah. But you're tasked with getting the battery.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then you have to go in the nurse's station anyway to get. Where were they? There for medical supplies.
Yeah, the meds.
Right.
Where
No,
you,
Ben was getting gasoline. Kenny is trying to open in the
armory.
Yeah.
I thought Ben was trying to open. the
yeah,
armory.
no, I think Ben was.
Ben and Kenny were
Yeah,
trying to
Ben
open
was
the
trying to
armory.
help Kenny because Ben's still
A wet noodle.
he's trying to make up and build like a relationship with Kenny because he fucked up so bad. Like
Yeah.
basically
Oh, he's
got his
guilt-ridden.
family. Yeah. And then when I told Ben originally on the train, shut the fuck up about it, don't tell Kenny.
Yep.
This is where Ben tells Kenny.
Same here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Kenny's like, fuck him. We should leave him. As you're running away, because then all of a sudden, all of Crawford just gets invaded by all of the zombies.
I liked the plot detail with Molly,
with the
with
tapes.
the doctor and the tapes.
So this struck a nerve
Yeah,
with
okay.
me.
I was surprised.
It's a very creepy thing that the doctor was doing, and what they,
Naturally.
Yeah.
like the forced abortions is pretty much what they were doing.
Yep.
For anyone that was pregnant.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah,
Very
for
fucked
sure.
up. Really
super
fucked up.
It's a little character building for her.
And
Just
you
to give
learn
a
about
little-
her sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how Crawford collapsed.
Oh, because she.
It's Molly's fault.
Well, that wasn't Molly that stabbed him, though. That was
Molly's sister, I believe.
Molly's sister was 14. I think it's just a woman in the
Oh,
camp.
what? Okay.
I don't think she's connected. I could be wrong, but yeah, she stabs the doctor. I guess he turns, and then that's it.
Yeah, Bree bites it pretty quick.
She gets bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think her death
Pretty
is
brutal.
fucking brutal.
It's pretty brutal.
Because like she goes down and she gets bit in the arm, and then she gets bit in the femoral artery, and that one zombie reaches its hand over and grabs her
eyelids.
Yeah, and pulls her fucking eyelids, and her eyes get really big, and then another one bites her in the jugular. That shit's intense.
It's
that
like,
was-
damn, she got it worse than anybody,
And
she
then-
didn't deserve it.
And then instantaneously, there's a zombie pulling its head up and looking at the other survivors with intestines in its mouth. Just like, holy fuck, that was quick.
Yeah.
This is right after the vote about Ben's fate, because Ben just couldn't hold it in anymore
Oh,
and confessed what his wrongdoings to Kenny, and like Kenny like loses his shit. People are holding him back
Yeah.
from like beating the shit out of Ben.
I liked the one dialogue option for Lee. I didn't choose it, but it was like, it's like, let's get through this. You can kick his ass later or something like that.
I
just thought
chose
was
that
funny.
one.
Oh, did
I,
you?
yeah,
Yeah.
I chose that.
Yep, me too.
It's like we just need to focus on the task at hand, and then we'll deal with that.
yeah. I was like, that was the worst timing on Ben's part too.
Yeah.
Like we're in the middle
Yeah.
of this.
Oh, also, it's his fault that the zombies got in there in the first place because he removed the axe from the door.
From the
Yeah.
handle.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Stupid ass.
Yeah,
He's
Ben
a
does
wet noodle.
He does a lot of annoying
he
shit
does.
in this.
He's just a colossal fuck up.
Yeah.
Everything he touches turns to shit.
So anyway, you climb up this tower. It's kind of like a cool scene where you're
The stairs.
moving but firing the shotgun at the same time, climbing the stairs. You have
Yeah.
an opportunity to kill Ben here because he falls.
You can just let him go, and he's asking you to let him go. He's like,
Yeah.
I know what's up.
Is that one of those moments where Kenny's like,
Yeah. So Kenny
Out the
literally
window.
comes back up the ladder and is like, Lee.
like
And,
a
he,
sock
and he
puppet?
just does this slow like nod, like, do what's right. just drop that little bitch.
help us all.
Did anybody kill Ben here?
No.
He even was like asking
No.
for it.
He was like, just
He's
drop me. I constantly fuck up.
I've done it before. I have dropped them in a past.
We know you
playthrough.
fucked
Yeah.
up. Oh.
Oh, but no, I pulled him up.
I pulled him up in this one.
he gets his later.
It's like he should scramble back to the house.
Then Clementine goes missing.
Yeah, because you fall asleep. I took Clementine with me to Crawford, by the way.
Me too.
I did also.
Yes, so did I.
I don't think I've done that before, but it has no real impact, except I think it changes the scene for when, because I think normally she would be gone by the time you get back, but I think he dozes off on the couch, wakes up, and then realizes she goes missing.
Right. I was expecting another nightmare, by the way, which we didn't talk about.
Oh, yeah, in the RV. I'm glad it was only one.
That was probably the only scene that made me jump, though.
Oh, really?
The nightmare that he has. But yeah, we should have mentioned Lee had a conversation with Vernon earlier about
Taking her off his hands.
Yeah, taking her off his hands, because he was like, we have food, we have supplies, we have a safe place for her.
We're all geriatric. You don't have to worry about us.
We've all had kids. He's saying, like, I know you haven't had kids before. So kind of giving him an out that I disagreed with. I held my ground saying, no, we're not interested in doing that.
Yeah.
It's almost assumed that Vernon took Clementine.
Initially, yeah. And then we come to it.
Yeah. And then he goes down an alleyway.
Yeah.
Is this in 4? Or is this? Yeah, this is at the end of 4, right?
This is the end
yeah.
of 4.
He goes because he sees her hat, I think, in the alleyway.
The
walkie.
The walkie.
And he goes
sees
down,
the hat in the backyard, and then he sees the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, so he goes down to pick up the walkie-talkie, and there was a walker underneath the pallet that was leaned up against the fence and bites Lee on the
fucking pallet. Subtle touch. He doesn't feel the bite. He notices the blood on her hat, and then he's like, "Oh shit! Oh no!"
Did you tell everybody right away?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
No,
You
Oh,
didn't.
no.
You
concealed it.
You concealed it, huh?
Just went like. Doo, 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 doo.
So I guess that takes us. Oh, so then he hears on the walkie
Yep.
somebody. He's like, "Hey, we have Clementine is like
Safe. He says, Clementine is safe. She is with me. You're like a bad person. Don't come and get her.
You're a doo-doo head.
How did you respond? Because that's how it ends the episode.
I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. It's the most cinematic, I feel. Because I've done other ones before, and they replay it in, like, the cutscenes where it's, like, previously on.
Right.
And I'm like, it has no impact when it's, like, the intro to 5, when it's, like, previously what has happened, and you're like, please don't hurt her. It has, like, literally no impact on this. It actually has a negative impact, I would say, on the scene, because it just sounds so anticlimactic. Just
Instead of, I'm going to fucking kill you.
yeah, there's just something about it that just makes it, oh, cool, here we go. Episode 5, the finale.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So,
All right. So let's get episode 5 going. It's really easy to fast forward through a lot of this. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of so essentially the group goes out to go look for Clementine.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, so
You
they
can
actually
ask for help,
started at
can't you?
Vernon's place, and you realize that they all left.
Right. And then so you go to Vernon's place, and that's where
Oh, it's empty.
you talk to the walkie.
Yeah.
Then you get your arm cut off.
Or not.
Or you don't.
Oh, what?
That's an option to not cut
Yeah,
your arm
it's-
off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys not?
I didn't.
No.
I did not.
I
I
knew he
did.
was going to die anyway, so I didn't.
I did. Krista had to do it. It's a fucking brutal ass scene too.
I'm sure it is.
Because he's just like freaking the fuck out, then passes out. But like they're pretty graphic with it. At one point, you can see the saw blade, and it's just bone, and she just gets the bone, and she's like, "I'm trying to do it as fast as I can." And he's like,
Holy shit.
and then just falls over.
Wow.
And then he wakes up, and his arms just like within a few feet of him, and he like his arms all taped up and shit. Pretty brutal.
I was curious, so I did look at the different outcomes, and if you cut off his arm, he will look healthier, and if you don't, he looks more zombie-like, which I guess ties into when Clem is like, "You don't look so good. You smell really bad." Like, she might not say.
No,
"You
she
don't
does
look
say
so
that
good."
to him.
She says, "You don't look
Yeah.
so good."
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Either way,
So they come back to the house, realize that the boat's fucking gone. Kenny loses his fucking mind, starts yelling at Ben. Ben confronts him to say, "Hey, you need to like not treat me like a bitch." There's a scare with Omed that he's like not doing better. It turns out that he's like fine, and then they all decide to go out to look for Clem again. So they go out, and
they're aiming for the hotel that they
Yes.
think or
She
that
mentioned on the
Clementine
train.
mentioned.
yeah.
That's
where her
parents
parents were staying.
That's where they used to stay all the time when they went
Yeah.
It's
there.
probably the guy was communicating with her, hey, I'm at this hotel, I have your parents, you should come here.
That's how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably why she had the idea of going to that hotel. That's their destination that they're trying to get to.
So along the way, they're climbing along rooftops. Ben falls, impales himself on the
The railing.
railing. Yeah. So then you have another choice to kind of make there. Kind of. You can kind of fight Kenny on staying. And you can be like, come on, Kenny, like come with. No dice in my playthrough, at least. Kenny,
One bullet.
yeah, Kenny has one bullet. He ends up shooting Ben in the face, which is probably really cathartic for Kenny. And then it's just all you can see is zombies. It's assumed that Kenny's dead by Lee. So they continue onward towards the hotel. At which point, Lee says to Omid and Krista that he wants them to look over Clementine when something happens to him.
yeah.
Before they leave, that's when they say, "You don't look so good," and you can then reveal that you've been bitten.
Oh, gotcha.
Before they leave, when the boat's gone.
So they're going across this bridge, and it's like a sign in between two buildings, and the sign breaks after Krista and Omid are across.
No, I went first, and they stayed on the other side.
Did you really?
Yeah,
That I did also, just because it's like, what do I have to lose?
yeah.
Huh. So what did you do to get into the hotel then?
I had to walk on the street.
Oh, you still had to walk on the street?
Yeah.
So did I.
Okay.
I just climbed down and walked along the street.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's the same thing. You end up walking across the street, and you're like killing zombies as you go, and you're just like, you're covered in fucking muck and viscera and blood. And then you finally get to the hotel, and the person on the end of the radio is revealed.
Who wasn't surprised? I was surprised.
I was surprised the first time I played. I knew going into it.
Well, yeah, I didn't get to this point.
So
first
so
playthrough.
who didn't take the stuff? Does it change at all? Does he still blame you for the death of his family and stuff like that?
I think so.
Well, because
Yeah.
if you choose not to take anything, your party members still take
Still
the
take
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
His
So he
family's
just
still
blames
Yeah.
you,
screwed.
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, he still blames you for it.
I thought it was really weird. I thought it was a weird thing that he was just like, I'm just gonna like hunt you down now. Like
Well, there's no TV. There's no.
You don't really
no
have much
board
else to do.
games.
he talks about how he's been stalking you pretty much since the motel. He kills Lily. In my playthrough,
Yeah.
he confirms that he kills Lily. I don't know about whoever.
He didn't
if
mention anything.
No, because it's inferred, I think, that she gets eaten by walkers. If you leave her.
Okay, yeah, he's like talking about his wife, and he's like, oh, and I hurt her bad, and he's talking about like an emotional like letdown thing, and then he's talking about Lily, and he's like, yeah, that girl that you left on the side of the road, I hurt her bad. Clementine's in the other room, and Lee and him are sitting down having a chat. He's pretty much telling you that he's been like following you this entire time, killing all your friends, things like that. Slowly convincing Clementine that it's a good idea to meet up with him. So this part is interesting. So what did you guys have Clementine grab when
Cleaver.
she gets out of the room?
Trying to remember what the other options were.
I think there was a lamp.
There's a bottle, the lamp, and the cleaver.
I went
Cleaver.
cleaver.
I went bottle. So she smacks him with it, not hard enough to break the glass. So then Lee and him get into this huge like scrap where they're going back and forth, and like Lee has one arm, and he's like
right.
he's like trying, and then she picks up his gun and just blows his fucking brains out.
Yeah.
And then she's like just standing there like freaking out. What happened in your guys?
The cleaver, like she hucks it right into like the side of his arm, and then I think it ended up in a scuffle, and then Lee jammed him into the closet and just basically choked him to death.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember the choking, yeah.
Because I think I remember looking up afterwards, because it's different if you have the one arm or two, if you can choke them with both hands.
Yeah, I couldn't choke him to death.
Yeah.
It got worse.
I think there's a way you don't have to kill him though. I think that was in like one of the like the end of the scene things, like did you kill such and such?
Oh, yeah, when they showed you like the percentage stats and...
I think there's a way to just leave him in the room and then you guys just like flee.
the tried and true, it's been used in the comics, it's been used in the TV show. Lee opens the door once he settles Clementine. Opens the door, and a zombie's just standing there looking at him, and nothing happens.
Yep.
It's because he is covered in zombie blood, and it can't smell him. So he covers her in zombie bullshit, and then they start their trail. Lee passes out in the middle of the road.
They get stuck in like a little bit of a building. And he kind of basically says his goodbyes because he's like dying.
There's a door they try to open, and he can't.
Yeah,
can't do
he
it.
He knows it's about to happen.
Yeah, he can't even walk by the end of it. He has her handcuff him to a
the heating radiator or something.
Yep. And then he's pretty much just explaining to her like how to get out of a situation like this. It's like the last thing he can do.
And I do want to say that the performance of the voice actor throughout this transition from him going from human to slowly turning into a zombie is subtle and effective.
Yes.
And once you get to this point, it's like...
If only we had a segment to discuss things like that.
I know.
Yeah, all right. I just wanted to say it. That's the perfect time.
So yeah, there's like a few little dialogue choices that you can do here. Who went really sappy with him dying?
I don't think I went sappy. I went more kind of like...
Instructional?
Yeah, keeping her strong and keeping her focused. It's,
I did that until I got that last one where it was like, I'll miss you. And I was like, I have to do it. Like the dad in me is like, he isn't going to get to say anything. He doesn't show her any actual affection the entire time. And I'm like, why don't I just leave it off as like, this is probably going to be the last parental figure she ever gets? Like, why don't I actually just like have like a redeeming thing? So said that, and then she very shakily shoots him in the face.
You can let her go, like if you're like telling her to leave.
Oh yeah, you can tell her to
But then
leave
he
you.
turns and he like comes at her as a zombie, and I think she shoots him then.
Yeah.
So either way, he's getting shot.
Yeah.
See, I wanted him to die as a human.
Yep. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Although she should have used the baseball bat.
Save the bullet.
Save the bullet. I'm kidding. I don't like in that situation. I don't think I could like if it was one of you guys and you were like just go, like just kill me. Wait, kill me first. I don't want to turn into a walker. I don't think I could bash your brains in with
If
a
it was me,
baseball
you
bat.
could.
Maybe.
That scene hit me like really in the feels.
Yeah.
Like I actually sat up and I was staring at it because I knew I was getting close to the end, and I think it was probably like 1:00 in the morning, so I was already kind of tired as it was, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, damn. Like I got a little choked up. Like that scene like really hit me, and that's something to say for just the way the story. Now that since we're still in story, this is the end of it, how it really hit. This game made me feel emotions, and I can't tell you the last time a game has actually impacted me that much, I guess, on that certain level, and that made me fall in love with the game even more. It made me feel emotions.
This game made me thankful for all the things I have in this world. All the things I have access to.
Yeah, and then like the last closing out thing is you see Clem in a field and she sees two people off in the distance.
You don't know if they're walkers or... I assume them to be Omid and Krista.
Yes.
Based on how I ended. Because
Yeah.
I even had Lee say, hey, I want you to take
Yep. Yeah.
Clementine when this is all over. You have the option to say... I don't know. I was gung-ho on Omid and Krista right away because they wanted, I think, a kid or something like that.
She was pregnant.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Is that why? Okay.
She was sick
There
or
are
something
those.
at one point.
Yeah.
So cool. That kind of wraps up the story of this.
I did want to say that knowing all this makes me very curious for the sequels because you take over as Clementine.
Yes.
And the fact that she's been through so much and she's still so young and that she gets older as she goes, I almost want to see like psychological damage. Like she should be damaged by the time they get to the final season, right? Like even though she's grown up a bit, and I think in the last, because I've seen some footage of the last game where she now is like a parental figure to a small boy. So I think they're kind of like they flipped not the tropes, but they brought it back to
Like
what
the
this
original.
game is like.
Mm-hmm.
I played through the second one. I
Oh,
don't
you
want
did?
to. I don't want to discuss
Okay.
anything for this, but we should hit this whole series at some point. It's good. It's really good, and it really picks up where you left off in the second one. or in the first one. So the other thing I was going to discuss before we move on from the story segment, unless you guys had any other things to add about the story. So 400 Days is the DLC. It has nothing to do with like Clementine's storyline, but it touches on 5 other little arcs that are like 5 to 10 minutes each. Just real briefly, like there's one that is like 2, I guess, potheads that are on the road. They run into like the almost like bandits that are chasing them, kind of thing. But there's like that's the most like comedy driven one. It's I don't know. It's an interesting, but that is like literally it could be less than 5 minutes.
They do like rock paper scissors.
Yeah, rock paper scissors game just to see because they hit something and they think it might have been a person, but they're not sure. It was foggy.
There's smoky.
There's one storyline where it shows like a camp like kind of failing, and the people are like, it's actually the survivors of the cancer group. They say,
okay.
hey, maybe it wasn't a good idea. We lost the last little bit of our humanity when we ditched that group by stealing their boat.
Gotcha.
And they're surviving in this camp with a couple other people, but they're like, we're not going to take anybody else in. If anybody doesn't follow the rules, we're going to kill them. And you run into that choice where somebody is
Jeez, that sounds an awful lot like
Crawford.
yeah, but they were talking like, that's kind of ironic. They were
Yeah, a
talking
little
about
bit.
how much they hated this society, and they kind of turn into that society. But
Either
somebody,
die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become a cancer patient in remission who turns into a villain.
but anyway, the one person tries to steal some food and then leave, but they catch her. So the decision is, do you also run away, or do you have to kill this person? So it breaks down to that at the end of the chapter. One is a kid where he's hitchhiking. He gets picked up by a guy. You storm that same complex from before that I just mentioned, and you realize he's kind of a bandit, the guy that picked you up, and he goes to like kill everybody there actually.
I'm surprised that the two stories go together, because just from the way that you described it.
The most difficult one is you kill somebody before the apocalypse. You're on your way, like en route to prison, and there's one person chained up in front of you, one person chained up behind you. Then the apocalypse happens. You see zombies breaking out and attacking people off on the outside, and then the one prisoner strangles another, and the one turns into a zombie on the bus. But you guys are all chained up. But you figure out if you shoot off one person's leg, you can get the chain out. So you have to decide who you're going to kill to get free off of this bus. Like it's
Interesting.
a crazy little scene, because you're trying to find out. There's almost like a game of because you're talking about the crimes that you committed, and you're trying to figure out which one is more guilty than the other, and to kill that person more or less. Like it's crazy.
Holy shit.
And then the last one is a young girl is surviving with an older married couple, but then you find out the guy is into the younger girl and not his wife. But then you get chased into this corn thing. You accidentally kill his wife in the chase, and you can like reveal that you killed her, or
I'm sure he's real into it.
that one's a pretty quick one too.
That's fucking dark.
Yeah, but
It
he's
is dark.
but you're like there's the whole scene is before you get chased is all about the trust of the wife not trusting the young girl or her husband. She's thinking something's going on between the two. It's like, I don't know. But anyway, you play through all these 5 stories, and then you play one more story where you go to this camp where all the survivors from your 5 other playthroughs are, and based on the decisions, they decide to come back with this lady to her community, whether they trust or distrust, or if they're too far gone, or they need saving. And it's all your
interesting.
decisions play out into this one final scene where they each individually decide whether or not they want to be a part of this community.
Check that out.
That's cool.
Definitely going to have to play that one.
Yeah, that sounds like
You could
right.
probably play the whole thing in under an hour, to be
Huh.
honest. They're all like quick little scenes, but they're pretty cool. Some of the characters make an appearance in the second game,
Oh,
which
okay.
is kind of interesting, which is cool to play this 400 Days and then play the sequel to this game. It's an interesting little
How
cool
much
thing.
time passes?
Between
You
games?
said, you said there's like no time, or
A little bit of time, a couple months, I'm going to
Okay.
guess. Because it still picks up with Clementine as a little girl.
okay.
And when I started the second game, I was with Omid and Krista. And they were stopping at it picks up when you stop at a truck stop.
That guy's a maniac.
Try to bite me.
So are we good on story? Does anybody have anything they want to add?
I had one tiny little thing that us sitting down and talking about the game has revealed a little bit more. So I noticed that, and I think it's in Chapter 4, Ben says, I have a bad feeling about this. And then later, you borrow Molly's pickaxe, and he says, hey, I won't put a scratch on it. And she's like, all right, I got your word now. Not a scratch. Which both those quotes are Star Wars quotes, and Telltale is made from LucasArts developers.
Huh.
That is not a coincidence.
Easter eggs.
I got your word now. Not a scratch. Han Solo. No? Return of the Jedi?
Oh, okay.
No? Han Solo, sorry. Han Solo.
Was that from Trek Wars 2? The Wrath of Darth Vader?
So we good for gameplay?
Yes.
My brain.
Let's do gameplay.
Gameplay.
We're here, guys. We've arrived.
Gameplay.
Let's salvage supplies and head on down to gameplay.
Gameplay.
It's a point-and-click shooter.
Kind of.
Shoot.
I mean, they don't
Yeah,
really...
there's like when you're sniping and when you're aiming down sights on the pistol.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
There's like some shooting gallery type things, but it's mostly a point-and-click action adventure game with some QTE. That's it for gameplay.
I do want to say one gripe I have about it, though. I don't like the scenes when you have to click on something that's like
Look or
let's
grab.
say when Lee jumped from the bell tower to the roof of the building, you have to click on the one thing to grab a hold of the building, but the whole screen is shaking, and yet you still have to move the reticle over this point to click on it. I hated those every fucking time that they happen in the game.
The first-person view shit is mostly first-person when that stuff was happening.
Yes.
They're like, here's a look at what Lee's saying, and it's like just all over the place.
But moving the reticle was kind of slow to begin with, and then clicking on something that's moving on the screen, like it's...
You should try the PC version, because you can adjust the sensitivity of the mouse, and I had no trouble getting anywhere with anything.
I thought that was irritating. That's the biggest gameplay problem I had.
We're only talking about problems, huh?
No, sorry. that's... I didn't have really much to say about the gameplay. It's all about the story
this
with this game.
game's story-based, pretty
Yeah.
much.
On PC, like let's say there's an item or a thing where you can either look at it or interact with it, I would have to scroll with the mouse wheel for which one I wanted. And if I had an item in my hand, it just to me it was like, okay, this is kind of not... I don't know what a better solution would be, but it's like look, touch, pencil, look, touch, wrench. You know what I mean? And I'd have to scroll through those to get to the one that I wanted. It was a little tedious, but other than that...
it was tedious?
It was a little tedious, I thought.
You had to scroll through it, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, on console, it kind of auto-selects
Yeah,
because
like for on the 360, it was like Y to look, maybe X to touch, and A to...
Yeah, they're just different
Yeah.
buttons.
It's cool. Like, it shows you
Right,
all
okay.
three options, and you just hit the button, what you want to do. So it's really convenient on console.
Yeah, on PC, I've seen a video where it's like you have to scroll all the way down. Because I was trying to look up, like, alternate endings and things like that. Like,
Yeah, so maybe it's not optimized that great for that's probably how it is for... No, you know what? Most TVs, Comcast TVs have like a directional pad. There's probably just that
it's a
for
pretty
your-
bad directional pad, though. I don't understand how you would play that game. I'm also not going to spend $15 on it on my TV to play it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
charging
okay.
$15.
Nope, it's a point-and-click adventure game with some shooter elements, like Clark said.
We'll leave Lily for dead and move on into graphics.
Oh!
Oh!
Now I want them all to be like that. Let's drop Ben down the stairs.
Yeah.
You're doing okay? You're doing like a pee-pee dance over there.
I have to pee. Yeah, I said that before we started
All right,
gameplay.
go pee
Go pee
real quick, and then we'll do some graphics.
Graphics.
I will say, Telltale games have a very distinct art style.
Yes.
Because they keep this pretty consistent throughout all of their titles.
Looks like Wolf Among Us, from what I've seen of Wolf Among Us.
So
Similar.
it's cell shading,
Mhm.
right? But it's a variation of cell shading where they're actually going for a comic book inked feel,
Hand-drawn look.
hand-drawn look.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's incredible. It like because they can do things contextually that they aren't able to do with other types of games. Like, I feel like in modern games, when you want to make something weird or unique and different, you go neon with colors, I feel like. In a lot of games, they're like, oh, here's like this neon glowing thing. In this, they can just shade the shit out of it the same way, and it just has this comic book feel to it. I love it.
It's a match made in heaven for the subject matter and the graphics.
No, they look really, really good.
So I always thought, and I'm probably incorrect on this, I thought they like picked that art style for like to cater specifically to The Walking Dead, found something they loved, and just stayed with it. I can't say if that's for sure
I think
correct.
Back to the Future is the same way.
Is it?
Game of Thrones and Back to the Future kind of have a more polished cell shading to it. I think for the comic-based games, they're putting the emphasis on the more like inked up versions.
I haven't seen Back to the Future at all. I'm super interested in playing that game, though. The Jurassic Park one, too. Like, I love everything Jurassic Park. I did play the Game of Thrones one. Loved it. I thought it was such a cool game.
But you see how the art style, like that one's a little more crisp.
A little bit, but its roots are so tied to this art style, though.
100%. It's just like the lines aren't as, like, it doesn't look like it's ink on like some of the lines. More the lines are more like perfectly drawn.
Okay. You know, because I did notice, now that we're in graphics too, like certain features, I think like Kenny's hair on his mustache or something like that was actually like off his face, like not attached like art style wise. Like there were certain, it's hard to describe, but like, you ever see like the Peanut comics where they'll draw the hair but it won't even be attached to their head?
Yeah. Yes.
There was a couple things like that where it's like, that's the art style they went with.
Sounds like a
but
glitch, though.
No, it was definitely meant to be like that. It's almost like exact translation to Wolf Among Us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost exact art style.
I actually think there's more stylization in Wolf Among Us. I think like the colors and the way that they just use those spaces illustrates a better narrative for the area, if that makes sense. Like in this, I didn't feel like anything was lived in, mostly because it's a survival game and you don't see a lot of like lived in things. But like when you go to like Big B's apartment in Wolf Among Us, it looks like someone's just fucking lived in there and shit like that. Like there's little stuff. It came out later too. They could have just had a better grasp of what they could do graphically.
Yeah.
But that's not to take anything away from this game. It's gory. It's fucking awesome. It's really good.
Again, why I said the like episode 4, it just always resonates with me when I think about this game. I like the art direction they went with that whole town, like the look of that town. Just like I don't know, I almost get the same feeling like the way I feel about like a thunderstorm or something. Like the way I feel during rain. I get almost the same feeling in that town when I'm playing that chapter. It's very weird. I can't explain it.
There's no rain in that chapter.
No, I agree. It's just, but I get the same, like I said, I can't.
Slight boner.
Slight?
Yeah, just slight.
Mr. Burgundy, you have a massive erection.
Nursing a semi. Well, I wanted to say that I noticed the facial animations really stood out. I guess everything pops because of the art style. There were some times where it was like, wow, that face just went through like everything that it can do, like from all 12 emotions just like came out of the face in like a span of 5 seconds. I'm mostly with Lily now that I think of it, when she would be like sad and then she'd be like really angry and then she'd be sad again or something like that. It just
Well, she did see her father get his head caved in with a giant cinder block, so
it was a salt lick.
Oh, sorry. While we're on graphic, I will.
No.
This kind of with the
Moving on into
the hardware 360 though, and this is a complaint online. There's a lot of lag and super frame rate drops when you do the previously on things. Like some of them will just freeze on a frame, but the dialogue will continue. Like it's real choppy with some of that stuff.
No, I ran into that once where it went to go on previously on, and then it just stayed on that while everything else was still going. And then I did have the game completely glitch out on me once, where it completely shut down the game.
Oh, was that at the end of a chapter?
No, that was actually when you were in the meat cooler and you notice the air conditioning and you walk over to it to like inspect it. As soon as I walked over, I clicked. It went to go through like just one of the little cutscenes where it shows Lee looking at it, and then it
his game froze. from the air conditioner.
But it actually it stopped. It held the frame, and then it went to like the PS4 home screen saying there's been an error. Do you want to report it? And then when I went to go try it again, it thankfully worked.
It's funny how the graphics section is our troubleshooting issues. I had one drop. I had one freeze and reset my computer and didn't have any other issues after that.
Music.
Music.
Voice acting, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really have any complaints about any of the voice actors in this. It's very rare for me to just like be like, all right, well, the whole thing was good, but honestly, I did not have a problem with any of the characters' voice acting. I feel like the voices matched the people as well.
Yep.
And like that's
Well cast.
really hard to do. Yeah, it's really well cast.
You can really get the emotions that they're going through. Someone's, like when Lily's completely flying off the handle, pissed off, you get that emotion. When Clementine is scared and fearful, you can hear it in her voice. It's not just, Lee, I don't know. It's you feel what they're actually saying. You're not just hearing it.
And there's a trick to doing that not a lot of studios do. But I know Telltale does this. So they have all the voice actors in a room that are doing a scene
Together?
And they record all of them individually for timing reasons, but they will have them all act to each other, and it makes scenes better. Every game developer should take notes on how to do voice acting like this, because man, we get like imports from Japan that are awfully voice acted, and it's because they just have people reading lines over and over and over and over again.
Wow.
Yes,
What a
there's
mansion.
no emotion to it whatsoever. There's no context to what they're saying in the scene, things like that. That's where this game excels.
Stop it. Don't open that door.
Right, exactly, yes. I really honestly think this is like one of the better voice acted games
That's
out
an
there.
excellent point. I was going to say that I felt that this was good direction.
No, don't
You
stop.
got it.
Don't.
You got it. You hit the nail on the head, Clark. Thank you. I did want to say that I felt that there were clear-cut, like, this is my angry response, this is my happy response, this is my sad response, and the voice actor would just be weird that, like, oh, maybe we should think about this, and then it was like, fuck you. Like, it just, like, if you do them back to back, like, or because you can't reload that quickly, it just seemed like there were clear levels of emotion for the options, and sometimes how I chose it would seem a little jarring. But how do you avoid that? How you can't? That's
Tonally different
their
from what you were
tone is
going
different.
for.
Yes,
Yeah.
their tone is different. So there's no complaint there. It's just the only thing that's like kind of seems weird because I was like being really compassionate, and all of a sudden, fuck you. Like,
The music in the game with the guitar, it made me think of The Last of Us. Like I got that vibe immediately when I heard that music. Like just the music that they chose. Like it was like almost you could have just even swapped the music between those two games, and you probably wouldn't have even noticed. To be honest,
respectfully disagree.
Um,
Or do you mean just the guitar?
just the guitar.
Oh, sorry.
Like the guitar riffs that they did, because like it's subtly played in both games. Like they'll hit a couple notes, let it drone out, maybe hit a couple more notes. It's not like in your face guitar music. I just felt like the style was very similar between the two games.
It might have a lot to do with the instrument, but I got what you're saying.
No,
I get what
the
you're saying.
way they're playing it though,
Yeah.
it wasn't like Garth Brooks fucking jamming
Oh
out
my
or
God.
whatnot.
There's a little bit country and rock and roll, Harry.
Oh,
You forgot about the other half. I wanted to say that the music didn't strike a chord with me.
oh my Jesus!
Have I waited this long to say that? That there were times where, like, you could tell if you're walking in a room and then you decide to go talk to Clementine, the music would shift a little bit, and it would almost be like, I would equate it to like Resident Evil safe room kind of music. Like you just feel at peace when you hear this, and then when you go to a different area, the music tonally would shift. But there wasn't any like one piece where I was like, wow, that was amazing, or another piece I was like, wow, this really sucks. It was just all, it did exactly what it needed to do, and it set the mood and tone for what was asked.
I agree. It was totally just atmosphere music to me. I didn't think the guitar was like that outstanding. Yeah, I thought it was apt for the game. Nothing that like crazy stood out or anything like that to me though.
I didn't really find anything to be overdone. Nothing really like Clark where it just stood out of like, wow, I'm blown away by this. But it was appropriate for the game. It fit into, whatever situation was going on. They did have a piece that fit into it. Nothing really seemed out of place, but I can't, start doing backflips over it. They did their job.
It just sounds backhandedly negative, and I don't know why. The music's good. It just isn't, I don't know, Oscar worthy, right?
Sure. Yeah, kind of. It's nothing that just really took me like, wow, this makes me even more immersed into it. I was fine with it, but it's not like I was blown away. I'm middle ground.
We're good to do final thoughts?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Boat our way into
Yeah,
final
let's
thoughts.
fucking find that boat and get into final thoughts.
Fuck.
You want the good news or the boat news, or the bad news?
That'd be great if you just intermittently continue saying boat.
Kenny, I think you're losing it.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Man, I thought you said you were from Florida, not Vancouver.
Boats, you can't be serious.
It's about damn time.
Oh my god, I'm so Canadian.
Final thoughts.
All right, I'll share my final thoughts first.
You got it.
Okay.
As far as like narrative-driven games, I think it's very, very, very highly touted. And I think it's a very well done story, and I think the execution is there. And I mean, a kick-ass theme would have been cool. That's my only really complaint is like the music just wasn't outstanding. Maybe a little more things to do in the game gameplay-wise as well. I know they kind of kick that up in later iterations where they start to play with, QTEs and things like that. So realistically, as an entry to the series, it's a hell of a good game to start it off.
I really have no negative comments about this game. Everything was well placed. The story was well executed. Just to repeat myself from earlier, it really made me feel things. Like it really took me in. I was fully immersed in this game, and when I was getting late and I had to go to bed, I had trouble putting it down. I did not want to because I wanted to see what happened next. And I find with some games these days, it's a little lacking for me. And so finally to be able to play one again that took me in that much, I was very, very excited to actually get to sit down and play this. And I'm probably going to end up getting the rest of the series too. I need to see what happens now.
Now, quick question, because I know of the newest one coming out, and I know of the second one I played, and I know they did Michonne's story. Is that a part of this? Like,
Really?
I think that's completely separate.
Michonne.
like is that the third one? Like, is the
I think
newest
it's the
one
third season?
Is it? And then
Yeah.
this newest one coming out is the fourth one
Yes.
for The Walking Dead. So I didn't know if there was another one with Clementine that I'm missing, or if Michonne's is like the third part. So I'm sorry. Final thoughts though. What a fantastic game. I think it's an enjoyable experience. I love story-driven games to begin with. Now, I was thinking for a while, like, maybe Walking Dead isn't as good as some of these other ones because it is such a linear path that you're just tweaking details, not really changing the plot.
You mean like versus Until Dawn?
Yeah, or something like that, where you can really change the outcome of everything. But it's it's nearly flawless as a game. Like, there's not really too much you can get upset at. I guess the biggest gripe might be there's some lulls in the game, like, oh, this part's a little slow, or, man, I'm sick of playing this part. Like, because that's how I felt about the Chapter 1. I played it like 3 or 4 times before. I was just generally bored playing it again. So replay value, I guess, is limited, especially with how many things can you really change with each particular episode. So I guess the replay value is just like mid-tier there. I can't see somebody playing it like 20 times over. It's just not in the cards.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a good game. It's a great story, and the characters are very believable.
You guys said it.
We did.
Moving on.
I do want to say that when I think about this game, I think of those decisions that you have to make and the time limit on them, and like the stress of trying to decide what the right thing to do is, and how that is a part of the gameplay that we really didn't touch on. Obviously, point and click adventure, but that's what I think of a lot of times when I think of the series. I think of those decisions that you have to make and the consequences of them. And
Ralph, are you crying?
no.
Dude, it's okay. It's all right.
No, gush alarm, gush alert. It's just
Gush alarm.
it's just a fantastic piece of media. It hits all the check boxes, all the marks. The emotion that's there feels real, thanks to the performances and the writing. I'm just happy it exists. I'm happy this is a series. I'm happy Telltale is so prolific and good at what they do, and I'm thankful. That's my final thought. I'm glad it exists.
Let's put a block on Larry's head and do some scores.
The score.
All right, I'll go first. This one is definitely getting a solid A. There's no way I could not give it that. A+ would be if maybe the music was stepped up a little more for me personally, but in every single other aspect of the game, I have no complaints. So, A.
92.
I'm going to give this 4 skulls crushed with a salt block of an old racist.
This whole game is just Larry in the freezer.
Oh, if I could play that part over and over and over again, if there was like different ways, or if you had the option to pick the salt lick back up and then do it,
Jesus.
Just to make sure.
fuck Larry.
I'm going to give it an 8.5, which ties with Final Fantasy 15 and Resident Evil. And I think that's going to do it for this evening.
I think that will.
We're going to wrap it up.
Thank you again, Kai.
Yeah, Kai.
Thank you, Kai.
Thank you, Kai.
What a great pick.
Yeah, it was a fantastic pick. It was really cool emailing back and forth with you as well. It's always awesome to hear from our listeners.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
definitely
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
So I hope you enjoyed the review, Kai, and get your Frankfurt buddies to also hop on our Patreon. Maybe we'll do the other sequels. Oh, yeah, I guess we're going to close it out there. Does anybody have anything? Oh, we should probably announce our next game, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah!
So stay tuned. We're going to do Dead by Daylight.
Which is what happens when you die at night.
Pew, 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 pew.
Kill me!
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.